perlukan sokongan.
Takes let's go down. Spade dropped onto the ground. Jabat goes down as well for X-Men. X-Men not looking great at all.
Teams will be squished in together. Who will take this fight and who will take this booyah?
It's going to be Almighty on our screen. They're putting up the kill. Shira is down, but Batman, he's running into the center with Black Smash. He's tumbling through everyone. Can Almighty do this? He's the last man alive. Almighty turns around, and I think they've done it.
But he does not get the hits onto Batman, and Batman can't even pull those flanks off. Beautiful nade placement coming through from Jembal, but Shira gets taken down, eliminated immediately. Gives me so much of confidence in this team of Enigmax. V2, beautiful nade now being tossed up front. And you know, you did talk about V2 a little bit earlier on in this competition. What crazy placement. Manchai might be able to go in for the knock on a couple of players, but if he wants to take advantage, he needs to get the delete as well. Players from the side of Enigmax now coming in for the snuff. V2 with those questions, and Manchai needs to get away, but with the shotgun, is able to bring in so much of challenge.
But let's go gets another snipe, and Goku, he has to spend so much time. This grenade flying through. This might just be it. This might just be the back that ends it all for X-Men Expert.
Triple kill. Shut down. Yakuza kill. Yakuza kill.
Survivors, saya perlukan sokongan.
Takes let's go down. Spade dropped onto the ground. Jabat goes down as well for X-Men. X-Men not looking great at all.
Teams will be squished in together. Who will take this fight and who will take this booyah?
It's going to be Almighty on our screen. They're putting up the kill. Shira is down, but Batman, he's running into the center with Black Smash. He's tumbling through everyone. Can Almighty do this? He's the last man alive. Almighty turns around, and I think they've done it.
but he does not get the hits onto Batman, and Batman can't even pull those flanks off. Beautiful nade placement coming through from Jembal, but Shira gets taken down, eliminated immediately. Gives me so much of confidence in this team of Enigmax. V2, beautiful nade now being tossed up front. And you know, you did talk about V2 a little bit earlier on in this competition. What crazy placement. Manchai might be able to go in for the knock on a couple of players, but if he wants to take advantage, he needs to get the delete as well. Players from the side of Enigmax now coming in for the snuff. V2 with those questions, and Manchai needs to get away, but with the shotgun is able to bring in so much of challenge.
But let's go gets another snipe, and Goku, he has to spend so much time. The grenade flying through. This might just be it. This might just be the back and ends it all. For X-Men expert.
Triple kill. Shut down. Blockade kill. Blockade kill.
Survivors, saya perlukan sokongan.
Takes let's go down. Spade dropped onto the ground. Jabat goes down as well for X-Men. X-Men not looking great at all.
Teams will be squished in together. Who will take this fight and who will take this booyah?
It's going to be almighty on our screen. They're putting up the kill. Shira is down, but Batman, he's running into the center with Black Smash. It's public to everyone. Can Almighty do this? He's the last man alive. Almighty turns around, and I think they've done it.
But he does not get the hits onto Batman, and Batman can't even pull those flanks off. Beautiful nade placement coming through from Jembal, but Shira gets taken down, eliminated immediately. Gives me so much of confidence in this team of Enigmax. V2, beautiful nade now being tossed up front. And you know, you did talk about V2 a little bit earlier on in this competition. What crazy placement. Manchai might be able to go in for the knock on a couple of players, but if he wants to take advantage, he needs to get the delete as well. Players from the side of Enigmax now coming in for the snuff. V2 with those questions, and Manchai needs to get away, but with the shotgun is able to bring in so much of challenge.
But let's go gets another snipe, and Goku, he has to spend so much time. The grenade flying through. This might just be it. This might just be the back and ends it all. For X-Men expert.
Triple kill. Shut down. Blockade kill. Blockade kill.
Survivors, saya perlukan sokongan.
and welcome back to the MCP Majors. Week 3 here on the panel. Paula, as usual, is going to be joining me. How are you doing so far, buddy?
I'm great. I'm excited. It's day 5. We've seen a lot of action so far. We've kind of seen some sort of, consistency, right? There was in terms of the players, and last week was kind of just a crazy amount of games that we saw. I think we saw just the rise or the peak, I would say, of Supreme Assault Forces. This team is just kind of on a roll. I don't think any team is going to catch up to them. They are the team to beat moving into day 5 today.
Speaking of SAFs, so I was lucky enough to actually jump into the tea time with one of the SAF members. So we got Forbes and their manager, and it was really interesting talking to them because a word that popped up a lot during our interview was the word consistency. So these guys also understand the importance of being consistent over the course of the league. And it's also something to take note with SAF is that I found them to be a very humble team. They're a team that they don't really look at everyone and pick apart strong teams. Their approach so far has been to consistently improve themselves. So even in games where we thought that they did very well, somehow Forbes and the rest of his teammates, they'll pick apart things that they didn't like, things that they felt that they need to improve on, and they'd rather work on themselves rather than, say, focus on how the other teams are competing. So having that knowledge ourselves, it gives us a bit of a better perspective on how the teams sort of functions, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the craziest thing, right? This is a team that's averaging 32.5 placement points a day, 30.7 kills a day. This is a team that's completely above and beyond. I mean, they're just all over the place in terms of just, can any team keep up with this? But let's look at the prize pool distribution. This is going to be first all the way to 18th place we see here. This is, of course, just for the league stage. Mind you, you need to get into the top 12 to participate in the big dance, which is going to be your grand finale, which you're going into. Unfortunately, if you happen to place 13th through 18th, you are eliminated. You will go home. Yes, you'll get a little bit of cash just to kind of make sure you do leave the door, so to speak. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're in top 12. First place right now, we talked a lot about Supreme Assault Forces already. This is a team that's primed to be there. I mean, this is a team that has what? I think they're a 75-point lead from second place alone into AKO Legend. This is a team that's just like, I don't even know what they can do to stop them. They don't even have to show up, and I think that they could still end up in first place, which is crazy.
I think so as well, because we haven't seen any other teams be able to consistently accrue enough points to catch up in a day, right? I think it's impossible for one team to have a good performance in one day to catch up. I think it would have to be 2 fantastic days, and then maybe they're going to be able to contest. Now, speaking of prize pool money, of course, we do have a second stage after this. So the top 12 teams will move on to the final stage. And this is where the big money is at. Paula, we've been constantly talking about this over the course of the league. This is what the teams are aiming for. That first place, $15,000 US dollars. Okay, this is not just a local currency. US dollars in Southeast Asia is a big deal. I think in most of the countries, you're basically doubling, tripling, and in certain areas, you're actually quadrupling that money.
Yeah, and of course the 15,000 would be in place, but this is one of those things where, hey, if you place well and you make it to the grand finals, everyone starts from zero again. So the Supreme Assault Forces, yes, they might have a lead, but at the end of the day, it's not going to matter because all you need to do is make sure you're in the top 12, get to the big dance, make sure that you have, a ticket, so to speak, to this event. Because once you do, then you got that chance for that 15,000. And of course, as you rightly said, so this is going to buy a lot of chicken rice or, whatever your food of choice is going to be. Mine happens to be chicken rice in this case.
Actually, mine would be chicken rice as well. We've got this really bomb place near my house, and it's really, really cheap as well. Oh, I think I could live off of chicken rice over there. Anyways, away from that chicken rice, people are going to be wondering what's going on for today. Now, of course, as usual, we do need to go through our map rotations, which we're going to be showing in just a moment. But Paula, I kind of want to ask you here, what maps are we seeing teams struggle on? Is it the usual Kalahari, or are we starting to see Bermuda and Purgatory become issues?
I'm thinking Kalahari. But before we do that, let's go to the point system here. Of course, you're going to get with points straight on down. First place is your Booyah. You're going to get 12 points for that one, always coveted. And it does have a little bit of a sizable gap in the sense from second place, you're getting 9, third, 8, and so on and so forth. You're going to get to 11th and 12th place. Unfortunately, if you get eliminated, then you're not going to get any placement points. So you do not want to be eliminated early. Mind you, you do get a single point for every single kill you have. So you do have a chance to do well as long as you're getting your kills. And so you're able to just hit your shots, make sure you do get your points at the end of the day.
Yeah, you really got to grab those points. And speaking of Kalahari, we always talk about the elevation of Kalahari. We always talk about how big the map is, how little cover there is as well, because it's quite literally a desert. But something that I find really interesting, just firstly, we're not going to get Kalahari today, so maybe a bit of a downhill slope for these teams. But I think something unique to Kalahari is that a lot of the kills end up towards the end of the game. And do you feel like that might be one of the reasons why Kalahari is such a difficult map to play? Because if you don't survive to the late game, you are suffering a drought, drought.
Definitely. I mean, it comes into the strategy and how you want to play things out. We've seen that teams are very cagey in the beginning. They don't want to give away any sort of points, issues. They don't want to handicap their own team by going down a man early. So they tend to play very, very cagey. But in terms of today, though, we're going to see Purgatory and Bermuda. These are going to be kind of, you have your action up front, right? So I think that, you don't have that cagey style. You just really don't have that room to maneuver around. So you got to make sure that you get those kills early. You got to make sure that you take over places, fortify as much as you can, and just kind of start it with a bang.
Yeah, and considering the order of the maps as well, so the teams are going to have a little bit of a wind-up coming into the game. So, Bermuda, super fast-paced. These teams, basically, as soon as you drop, you're looking for something. Whereas with Purgatory, it's a little bit slower because the map is significantly bigger. So, maybe this might be a good thing for some of these teams that tend to be a bit slow out of the gate, right? They kind of have that warm-up from Purgatory, and they really start to wake up towards that mid-game rather than having to, hopefully, have to try and get that first kill in, because I think we have seen a couple of skirmishes where teams, as soon as they're dropped, they are rushing to loot right next to each other. It is insane.
Mm-hmm. And if we're going to look at the qualified teams, Group A, probably the lowest, the weakest team of group of all. B
Currently
is the group of death. I think they've taken up the mantle at this point, especially with SAF in that one. Group C, of course, is just kind of like close on their heels, so to speak, and they're making things very, very competitive. But if we're going to just kind of break down Group A, was there a team that you kind of just like, I mean, I know we talked a lot about Do Easy in the past, but what do you think about Do Easy just kind of moving forward here?
I've been rooting for Do Easy. I'm kind of hoping this team wakes up and we actually get to see Do Easy stuff, because we did see it happen last season. But so far the team has been struggling, and it really comes down to them not really being able to secure their mid game, because so far we're constantly seeing Do Easy getting knocked out during the mid game, and when they do get to the late game, they're not fully prepared. They've lost a member, they haven't really gotten any kills, or their positioning might be a little bit off. So as much as I'm rooting for Do Easy, sometimes just being a fan hurts. It's like stabbing yourself.
That got a little deep. But mind you, in terms of Group A, I think Tactical Index was one of those teams that had a really good day 4, right? They scored 40 points. They scored 32 points in day 3. I mean, 72 points across the weekend is pretty good. Zest Squad, on the other hand, is another one that kind of like stuck out to me. They had 38 points, and this is a very quiet team. We don't talk too much about them. Yes, they tend to be towards the bottom at this point, but Group A, you're trying to do what you can, just trying to move up here. But again, we talked about Supreme Assault Forces, 253. That's crazy. Like, you know what I mean? No other team is even in the 200s. AKO Legends kind of close on the heels. But if we're looking at from second to, I think, Woos, 6th place right there, those 5 teams, there's a 17-point differential, right? So 5 teams are fighting for that coveted tier 2.
Actually, we've also got another bit of a head-to-head race, right? Because you've got that 2nd to 6th place, but then you've also got to consider 9th place until, I want to say, 14th. Argon might be a little bit difficult for them to catch up, but there's also a gap there. And it's a very easy gap for someone to climb, assuming that they have a very good day. Now, we're looking at some of the teams. I think Almighty is likely able to keep their spot, because I do feel this team is better than all the other teams occupying 10, 11, 12, and of course even 13. But we've seen Almighty also bomb out on a couple days, and it really hurts their performance when that happens.
They had a disastrous day 4. They only scored 9 points. Okay, 9 points. That's crazy for an entire day, right? Okay, another team that kind of just like is on the up and up, very under the radar right now. And I'm going to tell you this, and you're going to be like, what? 16th place, Umbrella Reborn, really? But no, this is a team that had day 4 that had 44 points. Okay, the first day was 10 points. Second day was 24. Third day was 6 points. They had a not so great 3 days, but that fourth day actually puts them in prime position to, hey, maybe they can pounce on that 12th place team, which is definitely within arm's reach. Yes, they have to do a little bit more work, but still, Umbrella Reborn, I like their trajectory. They're on the up and up.
Yeah, we could be looking at a case of this team just being a little bit slow to warm up, right? So out of the gate in the league, they're a little bit slow. They're picking up the meta. They're trying to adapt themselves, and then they're slowly getting better and better up until they're catching up and they're on equal footing. So yeah, we could keep an eye on Umbrella Reborn. But for people that are just tuning in and you're not familiar with the teams, we do have 3 teams on the screen to watch out for. Of course, we've got Supreme Assault Forces sitting in first place, way above the competition. If you're a fan of SAF, don't worry, you're in a very safe spot because I don't think these guys are going to move anytime soon. AKO Legends and Blacklist. Blacklist have been a little bit shaky. I do think their performance last week was not up to par. I think a lot of us were expecting them to do a little bit better, but hopefully this week might be their week. AKO Legends, these guys are really fun to watch. I love them.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun to watch. I mean, they get a decent amount of kills as well, right? They're averaging about 17.7 kills a day. This is a team that's definitely on, that knows what they're doing, right? They're in prime position. They're in second place. This is a team to, a lot of the other teams are going to want to try to covet in terms of trying to get as many kills as they can, maybe steal things away from SAF. But at the end of the day, they are still fighting from the scraps of what's left over from SAF.
Yeah, and I think a team that we do need to talk about is PX2 Radicals. I feel like you look at the team and you wouldn't think this is a team that's going to be so high up the leaderboard, but they have managed to maintain their position so far, and I like the way that they play. Yes, they do have moments where the team mess up or they run into somebody like SAF and then they get blown to smithereens, but I feel this is a team that we also need to keep an eye out on because they have been able to pull out some really sick surprises so far.
They've been on like hot and cold, right? First weekend, they had 51 points, 57 points in day 1 and day 2, and then they had 34 and 29. Every single one of those points is going down and down, right? This is a team that we talked a lot about. They have a lot of potential, but it seems like their trajectory is kind of not where you want to be in the sense of, hey, you're kind of doing a little bit worse. You need to pick it up. PXG is a team to watch in the sense of, hey, how did they pick it back up? How did they get back into this? And how did they play like PXG that we all know?
Yeah. Actually, speaking of the stats, I'm not sure if you have access to this, but what map have they been performing the worst on? Do you have the data?
I don't know on that one. I think it was Kalahari, though. I think they did struggle, with that last week.
Yeah, because if that's the case, this might be their day because we've got no Kalahari, it's Bermuda and Purgatory. So the chances are there, but speaking of chances, we are also going to be giving away our lovely gift to all of our viewers as usual. As long as you tune into the stream, we're going to be showing a code later on today for some free goodies. Now, this is not a first come first serve code. We're going to say this every day because some people do forget. This is a code that everyone can claim. So you can claim it, your friends can claim it, your siblings can claim it, your grandma can claim it, everybody can claim it. So make sure once the code is there, share it to everyone you know because as soon as that stream ends, that code is gone. Okay, so free stuff, claim it and share it. Sharing is caring.
Yeah, everybody needs to just pass it along. Make sure that you do it. I think that that's one of the biggest things of just, hey, you could even share it to strangers. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day because, of course, anyone can get it. So you could just literally walk around the street and just like tell people codes, right? Let them start with it. But I mean, it's a great thing that Garena is doing here. It's their 4th anniversary for Free Fire. So they're just trying to give everybody a gift, so to speak. But we're going to go into the first match. It's going to be AJ and Husky with the first match. Please take it away.
Thank you very much. And oh boy, AJ, I am very excited because I looked at the stats and this is something that I want to put it out there as early as possible. From the get-go, we looked at SAF and we said, you know, McRory's and 4-Bits, they are the guy to watch. McRory has been here since the last major. 4-Bits is kind of the latest addition. But guess what? These two guys, their combined kills totals up to 91. That's more than any other team's total kills. That's how insane SAF is. But of course, a lot of up-and-coming teams are also in the spotlight. I cannot wait to jump into our first map today.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, SAF, they've just shown that they are a totally different class. The number one as well as the number two spot for the highest number of kills, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, just like what Husky has just broken down, it belongs to SAF, right? But we have got the rest of them stepping up as well, Husky. I mean, Views is catching up for X-Men Expert. Although they don't step up in terms of kills to match up against SAF, they have been doing quite a good job right now. Be having my eyes on them, man. I mean, we talked about Views a little bit. I think that they have got a lot more to prove in here. Little by little, I wouldn't say they were the squad that got counted out, Husky, but, not a lot of people were raving about them. But look at them, man, in 6th position, and they are climbing up every single week.
Yeah, it feels like, at least for today, it would be a fight for the second place, considering how big the gap is, right, between SAF and AKO Legends. But it is still a very long journey. We have 4 more weeks, including this week. And most importantly, I think Holler did point it out, Umbrella Reborn is kind of the team to watch. So I would definitely have my eyes on them. And he made a good point, 44 points in their most recent the most recent day. That is a 50% increment of their first 3 days. So maybe they can show us something different. There is still a lot more opportunity to break into the 12th place. It's not too far away. 110 is the ceiling to break, and Umbrella Reborn, they're at 84.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, and that's the fight for, I guess not the number one spot, but the number two spot, as you guys have already mentioned. But, we also have to take a quick look at the bottom of that leaderboard, because we have got teams like Z Squad, Argon MY, Do Easy, and, like you mentioned as well, Umbrella Reborn, who are not too far at all. One great round can put them back up in the top 12. And that seems to be a tough fight to overcome, Husky.
Yeah, it definitely does feel like so, because as much as they have very great rounds, they also had pretty bad rounds as well. So I think it all comes down to what the SAF members or the SAF coach mentioned in one of the conversation that they had with Daniel Lee, which is consistency, right? I'm just glad that this mantra that we have been chanting since the start of the very first major is being recognized, being carried out by all of these teams. But we are seeing early fights already. It's going to be PSG against Argon MY, two of the teams that has completely different placement than PSG. Is going to strike first, taking out 2 members from the side of Argon MY. And if you are Argon MY, that 14th place is going to stick around for a bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely, man. PXC definitely one of those squads to be looking out for. Barber now not taken out of the equation just yet. The guy is still standing. Shocking in terms of performance, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And now 2R, the third member from the side of Argon MY, will get sliced down, and Pedro needs to run as fast as his little feet can take him. Insanity going in here to cut off his access, but Pedro's not moving in there. Ramiel, look at this flank coming through. They don't seem to find the guy, and they're all lost. Well played from Pedro.
They found him.
Oi, oi!
They actually checked. I cannot believe it.
And it's Barba with 2 HP, Husky.
He actually went and checked it. He doubled back, because he knew that there's no way that this one last guy is going to just disappear from their side. There's no freaking way. But for Zest Squad, they are also not having a good time. In fact, it's going to be Zest for behind, tries to ambush 4-bits, but gets absolutely clobbered by the shotgun. I mean, 4-bits with his Tommy, that's more than enough. And Zest Squad is going to end up losing more than just 1. They lose 3. And Type 64 have no business in this area. In fact, he is not even close to his teammates.
Yeah, that's a GGWP, right? Z Squad, they had an amazing week last week. But, if you share that drop zone with SAF, usually like we discuss, Husky, early engagements, it's either be killed or you go for the kill. And when you're taking the fight up against SAF, man, I think the strategy needs to change a little bit. I think the strategy should just be run as fast as you can. Try not to get into any one of these engagements. It's just not one of those fights where you will be able to, hope to come out the victor. I mean, look at SAF. Look at where they stand. Once again, a totally different level compared to any one of the other squads in here. And, well, 0 to hero, they're going to be remaining at that 0 at least for round number 1, Husky.
Okay, save you the trouble, right? I think instead of for these teams trying to formulate a plan how to get away from SCF. Just don't share the drop zone. It's kind of the easiest solution. Obviously, it's easier said than done. I think the flight path for this round number 1 was slightly unforgiving. It was very southbounded, so I think a lot of teams were forced to end up hard dropping with other squads. But for SAF in general, they probably don't care at this point because they are so confident in their plays. EMX, they did lose Black early on, so not the best of start. But if you are Enigmax and you look at the kill feed, you should feel lucky that you're Enigmax right now. Instead of Z Squad, who is working with one guy, and of course Argon and Mike, who just got wiped out before they even got to play the game.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Animax early loss on one player here, but they don't really have to worry all that too much. We can see the players from Cannot Brain approaching real quick. Brasilia looks like it's going to be lit up with a lot of action in here. Freedom Rumble getting into a situation as well, and the players from Cannot Brain are moving in towards that fight. Freedom Rumble, they have been on the fence, Husky, just sitting down in that mid segment of that leaderboard. They don't seem to be aggressing. They're not taking a lot of these crazy fights early on, and it seems to have been working out in their way. But I feel like they need to step it up a little bit, my man. XPR now Cannot Brain taking the fight up against Freedom Rumble. This is that moment where I guess they step it up.
Yeah, this is the opportunity, but it's at least for Cannot Brain, they might not make it out alive. Cops is gonna down Shiro. Despite his best efforts, XPR just did not stand a chance against Freedom Rumble. And we've gone through this a couple of times. I think Freedom Rumble and Fast Heal and Y kind of like not exactly carbon copies, but they have a lot of similarities. And they're one of the few teams that can headbutt their way into top 8. It's a very weird scenario, right? You have this team that just wants to fight, like fight all day, every day, and they somehow still make it. I mean, it's good for them. But it always, keeps us on the edge of our seat. Like, these guys can do more, but they are not doing just that. They are, it's insanity. It's doing the same thing and expecting a different result. But I guess in this case, I have not too much problems with it. Hopefully for Freedom Rumble, they can show us something else, and that was definitely a good start.
Yeah, here's the one point that all of those Freedom Rumble fans can perhaps hang on to, though. It's not a fight for that number 1 spot, but if it was, Freedom Rumble is 100 points away from that number 1 spot. But Husky, going back to your point, man, if we were talking about purely the fight for that number 2 spot held by AKO Legend at the moment, that's just a mere 25 points. Freedom Rumble, they may be in that 7th position, but they're not too far away at all from a bigger share of this league circuit prize pool, my friend.
Yeah, now that you put it into perspective, what? Does he not know? He should know, right?
I'm pretty sure he knows, but he's not going to survive out there for much longer. That's what I'm sure of.
But now that you put it into perspective, the fact that the gap between Freedom Rumble and SAF, 100 points, and you compare it between them and AKO Legends, it's literally 4 times the amount of points that they had to garner. That is insane. Like, even I didn't think of it that way, but now that you pointed it out, how like, it really shows how far SAF is ahead.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And we literally just need to wish upon all of the other players that SAF messes up somehow, right? Because once again, a league of their own they are right now, and no one can touch them. Z Squad as well, dropping out early, 0 to hero. Once again, it's just going to be a 0 for them this time round in terms of that early engagement taken up against PXG. Not many of them having great starts in here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So let's see exactly how this day will continue to unfold. AKO Legend, the squad that is in that number 2 spot, but once again, it's not a secure position for them to hold on to. Taken just wasting all of his nades. The guy doesn't know there's nobody there at all, but better to be safe than sorry, Husky.
That definitely you need to have that discipline, I would say, right? Just not to
this vehicle though.
Yeah. Okay, one thing I want to compliment Free Fire is just that they're starting to head into the realm of cyberpunk. All of these, not just cyberpunk, but in general, all these designs. so much colors to it. I'm loving it. I'm not complaining. I'm loving it.
Absolutely.
Although I feel like driving around in a car with 1,000 LED surrounding is probably not the best choice if you're trying to survive. But to each their own, right?
Speak about being inconspicuous out there in Battle Royale, right? It's a game of survival, but hey, I'm a huge moving target. You guys want to take a shot at me? But, we've seen those vehicles making such huge changes in terms of, allowing teams to rotate in for a better position. And we've also seen those vehicles just used in such callous manner, Husky, where they just go in straight into an ambush, getting themselves snuffed out, or driving those vehicles into those open terrain, moving in towards the safe zone in an unsafe manner. and when their vehicle explodes out there in the open, it's GG, bro. It's game over right there.
I feel like one thing that Free Fire doesn't tell anyone is that the vehicles, I feel like they give you a false sense of security. Think about it. It is so easy to blow up a vehicle, regardless of whether it's the bike or well, not a sedan, but the race car, the four-wheeler. It's so easy to destroy them, right? You think that you can take some form of punishment and still get out, but no, it goes up in smoke the moment the bullet starts hitting it, which makes it even more complicated to utilize to perfection. You really have to know the limits of the car, and more often than not, we just see someone drive by a compound, get shot, jumps off the vehicle, and proceeds to just get it finished off.
Yeah. Perhaps the motorcycle would be the best vehicle of choice. A smaller hit marker on it, lesser chances of it exploding in your face. But now it's going to be the players off. Bloody Heads getting stuck outside in the open. They need to find a better side of this compound for themselves. Morgana, he is going in for the push. Might be able to pull a backstab. What a crazy time turner pulled out by ZJ. And Mark will push through in order to get that snap. But Mort gets taken down instead. Trix takes that shot from far off, and Mark is forced to pull out his time turner with the glue wall combination as well. Bloody Heads taking this fight very, very callously, Husky.
Yeah, definitely a callous display. I did not expect Bloody Head to end up being on the losing side, because ITX not really in the best spot, and ZJ actually gets bombed as well. So Bloody Head, they have completely blown their chances of winning this fight. Mark does pop out and take a shot, but he's surrounded by 3 more members of ITX, so ZJ needs to do God's work to save his teammate, and he might be able to do it because Shooks also goes down. Mark finally drops.
What?
But Morgana, now he is the one who can be the hero for his team. ITX not out of the water just yet, but it seems that Morgana decides to not continue that fight and just settle for what he has gotten, and that's going to be just 1 kill. Drop all these glue walls being expended. He has ran out of utility, so he has to run away and abandon the rest of his team.
This is a one huge question I've got, right? What does Morgana feel like he can bring into this match by surviving? Because, me personally, if I had gotten caught in a situation like that, we've gone in for a full commit. You need to fully commit, right? At the very least, you need to be able to pick off a couple of extra kills off of those players who were taking that fight up against you. And ITX, although they are not, they were winning that fight, they are not the most mechanically, sound squad out there that the side of Bloody Heads would not have been able to win over. I think Morgana had an amazing position, should have just stood out there and been a little bit more brave. And once again, the choice to fully commit had already been made, Husky. Absolutely no point running away. So I want to see exactly what Morgana as well as Bloody Heads can bring in terms of placement points for themselves, because at the moment it's just 1 kill on the board.
That was exactly the same thing that I had on my mind. Perhaps is the fact that there are so many teams left, so Morgana didn't want to take the chance, right? Because if they get knocked out right now, they will be out in 9th place, not the best position to be in. In this case, I am fine with going for the placement points. I feel like the moment Bloody Head decided to make the call to retreat, that really just that completely just invalidates whatever commitment chances that they have, right? Because when you start running away, you break formation, and I think Bloody Head made that choice. And they should have just committed to running away, at least for Morgana, who was able to make it out. ZJ was most likely gonna die, so the fact that he took 1 with him, I would say it's a decent exchange. Although at the end of the day, it was still ITX who came out on top.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And now PXG, they have got a great compound. Flirting with the edge of the next zone, they will be able to set up their defenses here before any of the other squads come in to ask any big questions from them. We can see just beyond the horizon, I believe that is Do Easy, Husky.
That's too easy. I was looking
Yeah,
at the other side, and that would be AKO Legend.
yeah.
Speaking about AKO Legend, well, they found Umbrella Reborn. Everyone from UMB trapped on that watchtower, and just look at the amount of projectiles fired at them, and that is all courtesy of AKO. But that also might reveal them to SAF, who is playing on that southeastern side. And this kind of circle and purgatory is what makes it interesting, because you don't know where it's going to end up. We probably might have a river fight, just like we did during the first major. That's going to be interesting to cap off the first round, but PXG finally finds themselves a challenger. And like you said, it's going to be Do Easy. Jemba will be the first one to get knocked. The revive should come in, but Ray Meow, the wonder kid of the team, he is fearless, and he's about to go for the trade. For the
come
rush.
on.
Baez manages to put out the glue wall, but Ray Meow just looking for the bullet penetration, destroys the structure, and Barbara takes out Baez.
Oh, what a play, man. Okay, Do Easy has got no chance in here at all. We talk about mechanical comparison between some of these squads, and, just like SAF, that squad is going to be able to go out and snuff out all of the challenges in front of them. And now Freedom Rumble getting taken out by the players of SAF. Let's go. Goes in for the push. Cops cooking out the nade in his hands, but he needs to be a little careful. Buys a little bit too much of time for himself. I have to say, wasted a little bit too much of time on his side. 4 bits now coming in for that backup. Will be able to catch the backstep onto Apam, and it's all over for the side of Freedom Rumble. SAF, once again, they are just a squad that is untouchable, but maybe the other teams have got a bigger chance in here, because perhaps enough damage had been done. Let's Go has gotten taken out, and SAF now, they have to depend on just 3 players. ITX having a great day in here, 4 takedowns so far, and they seem to have quite a good location, or at least to the very least had a great location previously, and now they have to fight battle. They have to watch out for the side of Enigmax as well as they move in towards the next zone. Husky.
You know who's the biggest winner? It's going to be AKO and PXG Radicals, because these two teams are on at the coast, I would say. Epans bombs himself in an unfortunate event, as they are taking on Enigmax, but he's able to make it up by taking out Lonsum as well. V2 does go for the rush, and EMX down to just one team. V2 able to finish out Grizzly. Doing a bit more damage to the side of Umbrella Reborn than what they bargained for, as AKO would take on SAF at the side of the river. We'll see if SAF can survive this. 4 bits down to just 6 health as AKO to go for the rush and finish off SAF. They have no business in this boathouse, and AKO will make sure of that.
Yeah, excellent plays coming in here from AKO. They are playing catch-up gameplay. 75 points behind SAF is no small joke, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And now a lot of hustle needs to be put in here. But PXG, a team that's looking for the #1 spot as well, trying to catch up to AKO. All they need is one better round. And it looks like they're having those opportunities. What a snipe from across the center. ITX, they step up for themselves as well. And now auto knockout. They've got a great compound in here, but they do not have the zone. They have to be careful, because PXG can gatekeep them in a bit, Husky. ITX seems to be buying a lot of the attention from the side of AKO, and that just might be the winning blessing for PXG.
Yeah, it definitely feels so. And Raymel, he has his favorite gun, his favorite rifle, and that is one of the weapons that even if you have a glue wall, it has bullet penetration. It will still blow your head off if you're hiding behind that structure. So I think PXG, they're in a very good spot, and ITX will be the recipient of this barrage of bullets. AKO Legend will take them out, but now it is the final fight. Showdown between AKO Legend and PXG Radicals. 2 teams looking for at least the 2nd spot for now, but PXG, they have the favor of the safe zone. In fact, I feel like when the next circle closes in, we might end up in the river, and PXG will take that opportunity where AKO scrambling to get within the safe zone to probably take them out.
Yeah, Ramiel just displaying massive courage there, playing outside of the hut. But now this nade might be able to ask those questions. What a takedown by Taken! And now Insanity gonna get taken out of the equation as well. What a play by Auto Knockout. Insanity on the ground. Taken the man, taking all of the lives of PXG. And now it's gonna be such an easy gameplay for the side of Auto Knockout. If Taken as well as Barba can hold on to their own. Yes, you are right, my friend. The circle's not gonna be giving them a lot of mercy, and now inside of the water they pop out the glue wall. But what a mistake. The one player standing in here, Auto Knockout. It does not look like the gods of RNG are on their side, Aske.
Here comes the name, guys out, and PXG Radicals takes the booyah with style, but of course this is the display of luck. PXG winning out by a thread, and thank goodness that the circle decided that it is not AKO's Legends' time to win just yet. Nonetheless, PXG Radicals, they would take this win any day, putting them ever so closer to that first place, but most importantly, it would temporarily put them in second place ahead of AKO Legends.
Oh, beautiful play, man. Beautiful display of aggression. Gods of RNG on their side. But you know, it was them who put themselves in that one spot in the first place, Aske. It's all about anticipation. It's the luck of the draw sometimes, but you can do your best to find the best compound to hold on to. And that was a great decision coming through from PXG. Let's bring on our host back here, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls. We've got Danny as well as Holler joining us. What do you guys think of that matchup?
I have a stupid grin on my face because PXG Radicals are like, Hola, you're wrong. This is our day today.
So I call them out. I said that they only got 29 points in day 4, and they go win big, and they do it against AKO Legend, who are in second place. So they're going to definitely gain ground. They might even take the second place position. We're going to have to see. It's still early in the day, of course, but that is a big statement game by PXG.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
The best part is that I believe PXG Radical was the only team on that side of the map. They were like, I think 2 to 3 teams, but PXG Radicals basically wiped all of them, and they decided to stick their foot on that at the coastline, and they kind of read the circle perfectly. Bit of luck, a bit of just committing to the play.
A lot of luck.
Yeah, and it worked out. And it definitely worked out.
Yeah, and it's not just the luck in terms of their placement, in terms of where they were holding that circle. It's also the luck of having AKO take that fight up against ITX, be so consumed with that battle, and even as they were consumed by that battle, it was the side of PXG who were nicking off all of those kills from the other end as well. So I felt like, perhaps at that point, AKO made a huge mistake. The moment you find out exactly who is in that final circle, you got to focus in on the big dog, man. You already know that you guys are shooting the players of ITX. Do you want to snuff ITX out first or take a crazy squad like PXG away from this equation? AKO with the wrong choice here, guys.
It feels like it was a bit of a tough decision though, right? Because they were basically pincered between the two teams. So if they focused on PXG Radicals, then ITX would just be trying to claim that side of the map themselves anyway.
They gotta swim. They will die. They would have died. You can leave ITX alone and they would have just killed themselves eventually.
Yeah, but I think even if AKO Legends go for a swim, they would probably die faster than ITX in that scenario, right? Because everyone from PXG was already had their eyes on the other side of the island. There's no one else for them to look at, so they were just waiting for their prey to show up. It's definitely a hard decision to make. I think for AKO Legend, they start their day off with this scenario where it's damn if you do, damn if you don't, might as well go down fighting, and at least they secure second place for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, above and beyond everything else said, getting that number 2 spot clearly not easy at all. They made it into that final zone to a certain degree. I still believe that, they should have focused in on snuffing out PXG a little bit faster there and focus in on taking out ITX a little bit later on, especially when you knew that they were stealing those kills off of you as well, right? Especially when you know that getting those fights, engaging in that fight against ITX, potentially might not bring you any much value at all if you cannot finish it off. And they were holding on to such a complicated angle where they were taking all of those spot shots and all of those glue walls kept being popped up on their end, which made it even easier for PXG to literally steal the kill from the other corner. So many wasted opportunities, but that's just round one. We are just warming up, guys.
So
yeah, and it ends up. Oh, go on, Hauler.
No. So just wanted to say, I mean, Barbo, you're calling this guy a thief, right? At the end of the day, because they're stealing kills and everything, but they got 7 kills, right? Barbo, this is a guy that, I mean, is he mechanically sound or is he a thief? That one's to you, AJ. What are your thoughts on that?
Dude, both, man. You need to be mechanically sound to steal all of those kills. You need to be quick enough. You need to be able to spot these opportunities and take it away from your opponents before they themselves, who literally went in for the knock, can get the kill, on their own, right? So I think Barba, without him being that person with all of the mechanical capability as well as the experience, I have to say, wouldn't have been able to pull that off. And that's just one of the winning reasons for PXG, right? They are going to be able to continuously pick up these situations as well as those wins as long as they can keep Barba on his high momentum today.
I think that for me personally, I just prefer stealing kills. It's just so much easier if you get it done, right? People do the dirty work, you reap the rewards, and you basically spend less resources on it. I think in Battle Royale, that is actually one of the most valuable skills, being able to steal kills from other teams, because you are literally just giving yourself points without doing much of the work. But yeah, that is the round standing. PXG Radicals, a good start.
Delicious. 25 points as well for one round. This is such a good day for PXG Radicals. But the thing is, after this round, is the consistency going to kick in? Are they going to be able to pull off a good round 2, right? Because Hauler did make a good point. The team can be very hot and cold.
Yeah.
I mean, PXG, what? The 25 points, they had 29 points all in 4 matches, right? So this is already just on the up and up for these guys. These guys can take it a little bit easy. But I think that, some people were saying that, hey, they were kind of taking it easy last time because they were saving strats, and we had that discussion. But I think PXG, you don't really have that room to maneuver with. I think that if you're going to go into at least the first half of this league, you definitely want to be in the top 5 so that you're very comfortable, so that you have the potential of just getting as much money as you can finishing up the league here.
Let's talk a little bit about Umbrella Reborn. Apologies for cutting you off, Husky. Umbrella Reborn, Hauler, Husky, you guys have talked about them enough, but I feel like they deserve a little bit more of our attention either way. They've been consistently stepping it up, guys. And although they're not getting, the top 3, but just picking up these 9 to 10 points consistently match after match should be able to not only secure them that top 12, but also keep them safe in there. Because, when we look at the other teams, for example, like Z Squad, who have been doing quite great. They sit down in the 13th position so far. Consistency just doesn't seem to be coming out from them.
Yeah, and that was one of the points that I actually wanted to bring it up. So thank you, AJ. I mean, you look at Umbrella Reborn. If we just put our attention on the leaderboard, where the bottom 6, I believe, Umbrella Reborn is probably the only team within the bottom 6 who is consistently getting, like you said, that 9 points, at 10 points every single round. So, if they keep this up, they will eventually just overtake whoever's in that 12th spot. In this case right now, the last we saw it was Bloody Hit, but after this round, Bloody Hit probably moved up a bit. But either way, I think you just compare the discrepancy between what Umbrella Reborn have gotten for themselves and the teams that they're contending with. I think UMB will have a better shot.
So moving into our next matchup, so we're going to be going on to Bermuda. It's a smaller map. It's a very fast-paced map. And we know a lot of the teams, if anything, all the teams are very confident on this map. Yeah. What are we going to be looking at here? Because we know Purgatory, it's a little bit bigger. You have to worry about the river, especially as we saw in that final circle. But Bermuda doesn't have that factor. So is this just going to be the standard top teams will get easy points? Or could we maybe see one of the dark horses pull out something really sneaky here? Because we're in week 3 already. I know these teams are feeling very confident with where everyone's starting to move. They're also developing their own safe patterns. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I think Husky has already hit this nail right on the head. It's all about picking those drop spots, Danny. I mean, early, if you get a good loot for yourself and you can plot a great path in towards that safe zone, you should be able to, potentially pick up a few kills, get a few placement points for yourself as well. But regardless of how good you are, if you don't strategize exactly where your drop zone is going to be, if you don't pull away the moment you see a different squad moving into that same area as you as well, if you allow ego to overcome your emotions as well as your strategy, I think that's just going to end up really, really bad for some of these squads. So that's what they need to look out for.
All right, so it looks like the next map is loading up here. It's going to be Bermuda. It's going to be AJ and Husky casting this one. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very
Appreciate it,
much
Holla.
to our lovely host. Once more, our synergy is in sync today, despite it being a week apart. Some things they do not change, and I prefer it that way. And one thing that hasn't changed.
Oh Lord. Look at bloody heads, man.
I was looking at that. One thing that hasn't changed is that we are still looking at hot drops, but in this case, 3 teams decided that Mars Electric is their home turf, and I don't like how this is going to end up, because it is basically the 3 teams in the bottom 6 trying to take each other out. Enigmax, Bloody Hit, and I believe the last one is Argon MY. We are in for a very, very sweaty beginning.
I don't understand, Husky. I do not understand, okay? Mars Electric in front of you, okay? Pochinok right in front. Yes, you are potentially not going to be able to reach Pochinok if you turn away at that very final moment when you've spotted other teams moving into Mars Electric as well. But that's a better possibility of survival, man. Now, 3 squads sitting down in Mars Electric have to figure out, number 1, how do they share this loot? And number 2, how do they survive and get out of here? And that seems to be a situation ITX is caught in as well. And they are doing a great job. They are running. The first sign of danger, these guys are out of there.
Yeah, they don't want to have any form of contact with the enemies. But to answer your question, like when you play Battle Royale, sometimes you have this mindset, right? Especially when you play with your friends. You drop, you parachute, hold on, Slumber actually gets knocked down by a vehicle. And it's going to be Spark getting a roadkill by running him over. ZJ on the other end is going to take out members from EMX. A 3-way fight. This feels like a relationship gone horribly wrong, and Argon MY, they are the ones winning out, because they're taking out the side chick, they're taking out the ex-partner, and to say that Peter is going to be the first one to go down. Bloody Hit. They don't want to be the first team to get knocked out. In fact, these 3 teams don't want to be the first team to get eliminated in any cases, especially Argon MY, who did not get to play round 1, but they still lost 1 regardless. Pedro is going to be the first member to suffer a kill, and X2R is going to follow suit. So Argon MY, at the end of the day, still not having the best trait.
Yeah, you run, boy. You run for your life. Bloody heads. They take the majority of the number of kills that have been picked up here at Mars Electric. And now Enigmax with 1 final player trying to get out of here is going to be Losum. And the player ZJ looking for him. Morgana's here as well. Bloody heads with the opportunity to pick up 4 easy points from the get-go. And Losum just doesn't seem to be giving them that opportunity a little bit too easily. Morgana as well as Jay, they will be able to communicate and clear off, check that list to say that Mars Electric now belongs to them. So yeah, no more the need to share these loots. They are all free for the time being, Husky.
Yeah, people be sleeping on the kings of hot drop. Bloody Hit. Like I remember, like the very first major, they would just hot drop, against the best team, and they win.
Yes,
it's like the team in last place is taking out the leaders.
Yeah.
While hot dropping, these guys are insane. But I guess in this case, for Enigmax and Argon MY, they end up just not having the best end of the trade, right? I mean, Bloody Hit, now they get the whole Mars Electric to themselves. They force 2 teams to run away, and those 2 teams are probably going to end up in smaller compounds with lesser resources, and their survival chances are not as much compared to what Bloody Hit has.
Yeah, and here's what I hate about hot drops, right, Husky? You need a stupid amount of luck, my friend. A stupid amount of luck. Because you go in there for the hot drop. You don't know what weapon you're going to be picking up. You don't know whether or not a sniper is there, an assault rifle, or if you are unlucky, you get caught in a place like Mars Electric and all you find are shotguns. And the other players get to take those long shots off of you and you have to continuously close the gap. No glue walls, not much of those lethals in your hand, no grenades to play with as well. I am a person that is passionately against hot drops, regardless of how good you are. You cannot underestimate the other squads that are in this competition. And like you've said, the reason why you cannot is because we have to learn from the past. Even Bloody Heads, as they were in that very last position, they were able to take out the ones who were leading the leaderboards. And on top of that, they were even able to pick up a couple of booyahs for themselves as well. So nothing can be left to chance. You really have to go in there with those strategies and as much as possible play it really safe. Now Freedom Rumble will have the opportunity to take down the remaining two members of Argon MY, and I feel like Vegeta has spotted them.
Yeah, and I feel like Argon and Y are going to potentially suffer the second round when they get knocked out first. Well, at least if it happens this round, they have 2 points.
Yeah.
You don't go out. Like it's a very. It feels like you are showing pity at this point, right? It's like, yeah, it's fine, you got last place, but at least you go out with 2 points. It's still not good. At least for Argon MY, who just started, showing good performance, just started showing promises last week, and right now the beginning to week 3 is definitely not what they wanted, but they have to deal with Freedom Rumble, and Freedom Rumble is a team where if they hear a pin drop, you can be sure that they will check it out.
Oh, I love what Drax is doing, man. They know already that they are going to be having a gunfight at factory. Drax immediately picks up the nearest vehicle, goes in for a quick round around factory to make sure nobody's going to be dropping in for that third party. No shots being fired at his vehicle as well, which means Freedom Rumble are all good to go in here for the snuff. But here's the thing. They, I believe, had a suspicion of those Argon MY players in factory. I don't know if they actually spotted anyone. It could just merely be a suspicion, and Argon MY might have just been able to hide away real well.
Yeah, well, thankfully, they are safe so far. I wonder if Freedom Rumble, what they're going to do. It seems like Freedom Rumble decided to not waste any more time, and I think it's a sound decision. Generally, like if you can't get your prey, just leave it be. Someone else is probably going to pick them up, or you might just cross paths later on. Staying there for too long might just end up being a demise if another team decides to crash the party. I think Freedom Rumble this time making a good decision, and I like it.
Yeah, and Argon MY as well, man. I mean, we've seen teams go in for a couple of shots, even in situations where they are not supposed to make any sound. They are outnumbered. Argon MY thankfully does not make that mistake, and they will perhaps be able to slide into that final zone. Cannot Brain taking the fight up against 0-2 Hero. Zeth with Type 64 right in front. This is going to be quite the tough fight for Cannot Brain because it's such an open area. Barely any of the landscape there going to be useful to them. And now one driving straight in towards the compound of 0-2 Hero. The nades might be popped out, and Shiro giving all of that backup from afar. XBR, Cannot Brain, what are they trying to do here, Husky?
Yeah, you can see that Cannot Brain, they have this planned out. I mean, Shiro was just waiting for the push. This could be a good choice if they get those kills. But, I mean, if you're Arons, maybe that's not the best time. What? Double nade! And of course,
Lord,
they plan it out from the get-go. And this is what it looks like when a plan goes swellingly. And XBR with 2 easy kills, now they're going to look for more. They will push that advantage straight into Zeth. And for the last 2 survivors of Zeth's squad, they have to start running. But how far can you run? Car is faster than the foot, and XBR will come in for the clean out. Morlock just put out the time turner, but XBR res with the nades getting deflected off of time turner, but they essentially split the battle lines of Zeth's squad, and all of those members are isolated. RN will find Morlock, and the last member of Zeth's squad is on the run with a flaming vehicle in his way. There's no way out. Zeth's squad will be eliminated in 12th place.
Oh, what a clean ambush being set up here by Cannot Brain. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I can definitely brain exactly how that strategy got pulled off. High risk, high reward, man, from that watchtower, which once again, I can never understand why anybody would want to jump up into. Is just a terrible idea. Grizzly now, beautiful snipes coming in here from Zapnu, but it's not able to take him out. But great hit markers from the side of ITX. And now they have to back away. But once again, dropping back to Cannot Brain's beautiful push onto eliminating a squad which quite potentially I thought would be able to step it up this time around, right? Because Zero to Hero, they showed us their quality last week, Husky. But it's just untouchable when I guess you get surprised like that by a squad as capable as Cannot Brain. But Cannot Brain, we cannot forget, is in that 17th position, my friend.
A long journey from 12th spot. Well,
Yeah.
not that look at it. Not too far. Actually, not too far. Give them a couple of good rounds. I think they can easily close the gap within a day. If you take into account that the other teams who are ahead of them aren't doing so well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
ITX is a team that, just surprisingly, we didn't talk too much about them, and sometimes it really feels like tactical intacs. They just have mediocre rounds at best.
Yeah.
They haven't gotten a single booyah just yet, but they
Yeah.
are still sitting in the 9th place. I would say pretty comfortable for a team that hasn't gotten a round win. But how
Yeah.
long can you keep that up? Like eventually you have to really step up the
Yeah.
game, right?
Oh, Lord, look at this compound, man. This is just perfection in terms of us anticipating some action. It's all going to be each and every single squad to their own compounds here. AKO in the middle, PXG with Do Easy and ITX might be able to snuff them out. It's all going to be pulled in by the zone. But SAF, they find Umbrella Reborn, and those shots are being fired. Umbrella Reborn broken all apart, all over the map. Nate now going to be flying in. Do Easy not going to be troubled by that at all. So far away, auto knockout, getting so much of pressure placed onto them, and bloody heads will get Morgana knocked down onto the ground. But Vegeta, he will not be able to find that kill off of them. These are all just long pot shots just to warn the other squads to stay in their own houses. And I feel like that's a good message looking at the situation in the world today, Husky.
Yeah, but to get pretty bloody for sure. Almost 12 minutes in, third circle is about to fully form, and we still have 11 squads left in this game. So if anything, I would say there are just too many players, for this map. Way too many players for the safe zone.
Yeah, absolutely, man. By the way, just to give the audience a little bit of an insight as to how big that ambush by Cannot Brain against the side of Z Squad was. Z Squad is sitting down in the 13th position, right? Just 12 points away from catching up with Bloody Head when we started the day today. And Cannot Brain, they were sitting down in that 17th position, 38 points behind Bloody Heads, right? So it's not too far at all. But what's more important here is they took out a squad that was above and beyond them. Orin getting knocked down this time. It's going to be from the side of Bloody Head. But just like how Morgana got taken down earlier, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's just a quick knock and the pickup will come right back through. They're just flirting with each other. But only one squad will be able to step out of Pochinok, Husky.
Yep, and Bloody Head, ZJ has a grenade launcher, something that Freedom Rumble needs to pay attention to, because we know how much difference a grenade launcher can make if used correctly. I believe we've seen teams blow themselves up in accident. I'm looking at you, Spade. You lost your team that one round because you took yourself out 2 times in a row with that grenade launcher. But in all seriousness, I think Bloody Head, they do have a better placement. Just because they're in the inside, they're in the inner portion of the circle.
I mean, I personally won't be able to forget the crazy grenade launcher play coming through from Almighty 2 weeks ago. I believe it was Batman that just suckered in players from which squad, I do not remember. But that was one of the best plays, man. In terms of deception, making your opponents think that you have got nothing on you, running away, turning around and popping off that grenade launcher, dude. That's just perfection, right? But now Freedom Rumble, they need to figure out exactly how they're going to be playing this, because they're outside of the zone, and in about 10 seconds they are going to be regretting that.
I feel like it's gonna come pretty soon because SAF, they have already started their assault on to XPR. Cannot brain. It's gonna get bombed, and look at all of those utilities being thrown in. But Rory will be able to find his one prey, and SAF going in for the assault. And this is just a ruthless push. Nowhere for XPR to go. And in fact, they will now get pincered. They are trapped like a mouse in a cave. And they are all gonna go down. Cannot brain. Just swiftly dispatched by SAF.
Yeah, but SAF now, they have to be careful. Yes, they hold on to this corner of the next zone, but the players are moving in towards them. Enigmax with just that one man, Do Easy, might be able to ask some very tough questions from the side of SAF. They are going to be sharing this compound, and Do Easy, they've got the vantage point. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, 4-bits now going to be taking a couple of shots up against him. He needs to back away unless he has got extra glue walls to go in here for the play. Orin moving in for the flush. Arpam goes down onto the ground, and it is Argon MY snuffed out. That fight finally happens. 4-bits as well as Let's Go getting taken down. Jembo with a beautiful nade. They move now on the ground as well. iPad out of nowhere steps in. McRory, the final player. Can SAF survive this? They are about to get taken out in that 8th position. McRory needs to get out of this situation, but he will not have much of a chance because even if he does get away from Do Easy, it is not going to be easy taking this one-man fight against Enigmax. And now Shah keeping an eye on McRory, who should be able to pop that glue wall or at least the time to buy more time for himself. But this is game over. Beautiful flank coming through, and SAF finished that. Sorry, Do Easy finish off SAF, Husky.
They completely caught SAF off guard, but for SAF, at least they bow out with a decent amount of kills, so that should compensate for this early knockout. Definitely good for Do Easy. They played that fight, in a probably the best fashion possible. But PXG Radicals once more gonna try to put themselves on the radar, and they have already taken out members, I believe, from AKO Legends. Gonna be Rosso, who is pretty much down and about to bleed out. AKO Legend, they will have to try and go to PXG Radicals. Only one team can make it into the safe zone, where Do Easy has really taken refuge. On the other side, you have Bloody Hit, Morgana again with that grenade launcher, taking out Freedom Rumble, who forces themselves, trying to push onto Bloody Hit, but so far it hasn't been paying off. In fact, ZJ, he is down, but he's not out just yet. Bloody Hit holding on strong, and I think Freedom Rumble, they might just meet their maker.
Yeah, they do not know exactly what they have stepped on into. And now Morty with the double vector should be able to ask some good questions. But the backup coming through from Morgana, as well as the grenade launcher, managing to take a player down before getting knocked out as well. Beautiful plays coming through from them. And now PXG taking the fight up against Do Easy, who do not have a great angle here. They need to close this gap with those glue walls and perhaps fend off ITX in the same time. Umbrella Reborn right there behind them. Do Easy taking on PXG, one of the craziest Filipino teams to take a fight up against. And they also have got the vantage point. The Namo closing that gap will get taken down by Shad. What a callous push by PXG.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, PXG, the amount of aggression they're showing is not paying off, because ITX have been waiting for this, and this is not the first time we see ITX is waiting for an opportunity. They've always been a team that just waits for a chance, and they will start taking you out. The definition of stealing kills from their opponents, and ITX, they not only took out PXG, they're taking out members of Bloody Hit. They know where Do Easy is. This might be ITX chances to finally back that first booyah after so long.
Oh, Umbrella Reborn getting taken out by the zone, and now Morty gets snuffed out by IPAN. Do Easy holding on to great compound here. There's only 2 more squads left in ITX. What an impressive run by this squad. Jembal trying to hold on well. Zapnu will be the guy who perhaps pulls a little bit off this distraction. Beautiful nade getting dropped in here. Jembal needs to be able to stand strong. Tricks going in. The numbers game might just catch Jembal off guard, and a time turner gets pulled out. Zapnu gets taken down. What a play by Jembalaski, and he goes in for Shooks as well. Beautiful plays. Ring around the rosy, just around this glue wall, and IPAN still standing strong. Do Easy might be able to pull this off.
Just when we thought it might be ITX's round, Jembal completely denies that, and this round is all about Jembal. Do Easy finally gets their first booyah after 3 weeks. This is about to put them on the board, but most importantly, Do Easy took them long enough to prove themselves. This is the beginning of a new dynasty.
Oh, absolutely, man. Baez, Jembal, Ipen, Shah, Anga, as well as Ayat, getting it done for Duo Easy, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. But that was not easy at all, Husky. That was a tough fight, man. ITX, they stepped up. But, to a certain degree, it was great that SAF got snuffed out early on as well, because we've seen SAF and how great they are at compounds like this, right? Even though you do not have the terrain to play, SAF has always been quite spectacular in a battle like that, open areas. But unfortunately for them, they got snuffed out way too early. Let's bring on our host, Danny, as well as Holler, right back in here to see what their thoughts are on that matchup.
I have to say, the opening for that was crazy. Didn't think we'd have 3 teams actually contesting for that drop zone.
Yeah, and also Too Easy, man. I think that the biggest one was the big confidence booster they got when they eliminated Mrikori from SAF. They trapped him around. I think they just he had nowhere to go. And the thing is that they were very patient. They saw where he was and he was hiding and he was just kind of healing up all by himself. But the fact that he didn't decide to go one-on-one with the guy, he was just like, I know where he is. He's got nowhere to go. There's a cliff there. So I'm gonna wait for my team to just wrap around. We got the perfect flank, and it was just a really nice elimination. And that is a huge confidence booster, especially early in the day like this.
Yeah.
And once more, Tactical Intex, this is not the first time that they found themselves as the top 2 teams, but it's also not the first time they had the Booyah stolen away from them when they had the advantage. But credits goes to Jembal for sure, going on a flank that I think ITX had no answer to. And just because of that one rotation, Do Easy was able to get the Booyah. And it's about time, right? I think Do Easy has been a team that we put a lot of emphasis on just based on what we've seen from them, and it just took them a bit too long to get the Booyah, but better late than never.
Yeah, and from here on in, Danny, it's all going to be about consistency, whether they can do it or not yet again, because like Husky has mentioned already, the past 3 weeks, no Booyah. And on top of that, their performance within those rounds that they didn't pick the Booyah up wasn't anywhere too impressive at all, was it?
Yeah, it was very lackluster, and I kind of wanted to ask you guys, right? This is the first time that we're really getting that spotlight put on to Do Easy. What do you guys feel that they did in this game that's been absent in all of their other matches? I'll start off with Husky, because I know technically both of you guys have been following Do Easy, but Husky, what do you think they did differently?
I think for this particular round, they just had better decision making. From taking on SAF to taking on ITX, and I think Bloody Hit. All of these were just decision makings in general. It's less about them being mechanically better and just them making the better decisions, right? SAF got completely caught off guard. ITX caught them off guard towards the end, but they were able to. But Jembal was able to make the call and be like, guys, hold them off. I'll go on the flank. So that itself really gave them the advantage they need. And against a team like ITX, who in a lot of situations aren't really prepared to to take on a team who makes these kind of rotations, just got completely caught off guard, like a deer in a headlight. So I think Do Easy, instead of them being mechanically better than everyone else, it's just them making the better decisions this game.
Yeah, I cannot help but agree, Husky. You hit the nail right on the head there. But there's a little bit extra spice being thrown in here by Do Easy. They seem to be relying on their nades a little bit more, and I love it, right? They need to play those lethals way more moving forward, because, I mean, the other squads have already shown it's a great opener for gunfights. The moment you get a knock with that nade, that is the cue for all of the rest of your team members to go in there for the flank. And as long as Do Easy can perhaps maintain exactly what you've said, play it a little bit more safer, get into that final zone, plot your pathway in there, and play more of these nades, they should be able to get distancy on their side a little bit more. But I'm afraid that might be too much to ask, Holler.
No, it might be too much to ask, but Do Easy at the end of the day, this is their first Booyah of the league, right? So this team is, I mean, we've been hyping them up. We thought we were like, when are these guys going to go? When are these guys going to go? And we just saw the first time that this is a team that's really opened it up. But look at how different today's day has been in the league, right? We're talking about Bloody Head, we're talking about Tactical Index, and now Do Easy. Right, these are teams that are like we've just been like literally just been negative about. They haven't been able to make any sort of plays, but then they've really stepped up today. Like this is a really different team, and I love the fact that these teams are really stepping up now, because somebody's got to give these Group B and Group C folks a run for their money, right?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
So AJ, do you remember back in season 1, Do Easy had this, I believe this week, where they just completely popped off and they suddenly look like the best team in the entire league before the eventual collapse later on. I think we might be seeing that version of Do Easy, but hopefully this time it sticks around for a bit longer.
Yeah, here's my hope for Do Easy. I don't want to see that, right? Because in terms of consistency, they've disappointed me a little bit. They're just not hitting the mark. But what I want to see them be able to do is just secure that top 12 for themselves today. It's going to be enough, man. As long as you can make sure you are in the top 12, Do Easy is the kind of squad that they are very easy to underestimate. On that one final day where we've got 6 rounds, I have got no doubt at all they will be able to pop off and show us that consistency that we're looking for. But dude, if you don't make it to the top 12, it's not going to be possible at all.
They're pretty
That
close.
is true.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll take a look at our highlights as well for a match that we have just witnessed. Of course, we do have to take a look at this absolute mayhem of a start. I think you guys are talking about how important it was for drop zones, and then all of a sudden the teams did the complete opposite, right? They're just like, let's all just have a real battle royale. I mean, like, why would you even make a decision like that? Is there a benefit to dropping in with 3 teams?
Yeah, there is. Ego is the benefit. Ego is the benefit where you go in there, you challenge yourself, and then you step out like bloody heads and say, hey, check out what we just pulled off. That's a risky play, which I would not attempt in a competition of this level at all. But bloody heads, man, they proved themselves in that situation, Husky. So I guess that was a blessing in disguise for them.
I was about to go in a completely different direction, right? Because it's like trying to hit the jackpot. It's a 50-50. And when you go for these kind of hot drops, sometimes I understand the decision behind it. It's not always a bad thing. It only becomes bad if you start losing these hot drops way too much. And in that situation, I feel like these teams, they are sticking true to the nature of Battle Royale. I mean, it's Battle Royale, not hide and seek, so why would you run from your enemies? Might as well just fight them head on, and if you die, then too bad.
Dude, look at the 3 underdog take on this leaderboard, Holler. They are absolutely amazing. Bloody Head as well as Do Easy finally stepping it up, and even Tactical Index couldn't catch up with them.
Yeah, everybody's getting in on the kills. That's the biggest thing. I mean, Do Easy was, I don't think they've had 10 kills like in a day at some points, right? But the fact that they got 10 here and the Booyah, this is a big step up for them. This is massive for them. Bloody Head again, 17. They got 9 kills. Tactical Index with 6. But really, there are not too many more kills after that. So they got to take what they can. And they really showed up this one.
Yeah, we have to highlight, Danny, Umbrella Reborn once again, showing us consistency, not in the top 3, but in terms of picking up those mid-rank points for themselves. Is it going to be enough, though, Danny, in your experience? Because you've been, with Free Fire for quite a while, and you've definitely seen your fair share of teams that are holding on to perhaps the performance Umbrella Reborn's holding on to now.
I'd say you'd easily make it. If you just constantly sit in the middle of the pack, you're getting this constant influx of points. Whereas you're looking at other teams where they have a fantastic week, but then once you have a really bad week, then they're offsetting with that good week. Then it just ends up being like whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I really think that Umbrella Reborn, they're going to be able to catch up. But this is also based on the idea that Umbrella Reborn can keep this up. Because so far, they've been able to do it, but we can't guarantee this, right? Because at the end of the day, Battle Royale, there's a lot of factors that come into play. You've got your luck. You also have teams that you're running into that you have no idea about, because at the end of the day, you don't really have much information to work on when it comes to Free Fire.
Yeah. Husky, your thoughts on the aggression of the Filipinos, man? 2nd, 4th, 5th position, not just here in the overall standings. The Philippines really is giving the Malaysians for a run for their money.
Yeah, that is what we've seen in the first season, and that is what I am happy to see again. I think, we look at Bloody Head and SAF, we've seen them before. Bloody Head probably not the example that we want to use when it comes to aggression, right? They have a lot of reckless moments, but if you put that aside, I think teams from the Philippines in general, they just know how to take this fight. And this is why SAF is sitting on top of the leaderboard, and this is why PXG Radicals is catching up. At least in the top 3. I think previously, remember before when we did not have PXG Radicals, we had AV Ligers. That was the team that we talk about every single day. Even when they had a bad day, even when they became the first team to get knocked out, we just can't help ourselves but remind everyone that, hey, AV Ligers going to come for you, whether they die or not, they are going to come for you regardless, right? They are they're basically Freedom Rumbles on steroids, but better.
Yeah, beautifully said, man. Beautifully said. Ola, your thoughts before we jump on into the next match, bro?
No, I think you guys kind of hit it all the different points, and it was an interesting point to seeing the Filipino teams just being in the top 5 like that. Not something that we haven't seen before. They're always in the top 5, 10 discussion. So we're going to see a little bit more of that. I think it's up to the Malaysians to kind of just pick it up, but we're going to get into this skin. This is going to be a free code, so please do go redeem that one. It's going to be coming up very, very soon. Mind you, when you do see the code, it's not a first come, first serve basis. It's just anybody can redeem it, and everyone gets an option for these. So feel free to just be eagle-eyed, make sure that you do get that code. Take a picture of it, send it to your squad mate, send it to your grandma, whoever else plays Free Fire with you, and make sure that they do get in on the action, because it's all about the free skins, and sharing is, of course, carry.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to be jumping into our next series very soon. It's going to be B versus C. So all the Team A teams, they can relax, sit down. I think they do need to sit down. They have been on fire today. I'm very impressed. Purgatory for B versus C. So SAF, very, very average performance so far. But before we go to a break, I kind of want your thoughts on what we could be seeing today.
I want to see the other teams that we haven't talked too much about continue to rise up. The one thing good about Free Fire League in general is that every single week, different teams step up the game. It's a very weird thing. It's weird, but it's good, and I like it.
Yeah, I'm just purely looking up to seeing 4X-Men Expert move on to that number 2 spot, man. I mean, they've shown us promise from FFMC. They bring it into MCP majors, and they show even bigger promise. This squad is still growing. The squad is still improving each and every single week. I think this week might just be theirs, Danny.
All right, we're going to go for a quick break, and once we return, we're going to be jumping right into groups B versus C. We'll see you after this.
Takes let's go down. Spade dropped onto the ground. Jabat goes down as well. 4X-Men X-Men not looking great at all.
Teams will be squished in together. Who will take this fight and who will take this booyah?
It's going to be almighty on our screen. They're putting up the kill. Shira is down, but Batman, he's running into the center with Black Smash. He's tumbling through everyone. Can Almighty do this? He's the last man alive. Almighty turns around, and I think they've done it.
But he does not get the hits onto Batman, and Batman can't even pull those flanks off. Beautiful nade placement coming through from Jembal, but Shira gets taken down, eliminated immediately. Gives me so much of confidence in this team of Enigmax. V2, beautiful nade now being tossed up front. And you did talk about V2 a little bit earlier on in this competition. What crazy plays, man. Manchai might be able to go in for the knock on a couple of players, but if he wants to take advantage, he needs to get the delete as well. Players from the side of Enigmax now coming in for the snuff. V2 with those questions, and Manchai needs to get away, but with the shotgun, is able to bring in so much of challenge.
But let's go gets another snipe, and Goku, he has to spend so much time. That's when they fly through. This might just be it. This might just be the back that ends it all. 4X-Men Expert.
Triple kill. Shut down. Quadruple kill. Quadruple kill.
Welcome back to Season 2 of the MCP Majors, where we are just about to jump into Groups B versus C. My name is Danielle, and of course joining me is the lovely Hauler. How are you feeling after that first group?
I'm feeling great, but I'm feeling it for the sake of Group A, right? It seems to be Group A's day today. Unfortunately, they have to take a break here as we're going to go into B versus C. But man, Group A has really come up to show, and they're here to play. And I'm sure they're just kind of waiting in the wings, making sure that they're ready for the next eventual A versus C, which is going to happen after these next two games. But we first got B versus C. What are your thoughts on these two groups going into this one?
I think it'll be pretty exciting because we saw how A was dominating in the early stages of today, and I think some people would agree, maybe people disagree now, that we originally thought that Group A was the weakest, right? They had a lot of the teams that came in from the qualifiers. They didn't really have any teams come in from last season, and they really showed up today. So is this a case of maybe Group B underperforming today, or is it a case of luck? Like, what's going on here that makes the group look so strong?
All right, if we're going to look at it, I mean, the overall standings will paint this picture here, but I think it's more on the lines of Supreme Assault Forces, not just completely dominating everything, right? They're letting the other teams play the game of free fire. They're letting them get some kills. They're letting them get, in the placement points. Yes, they have a monster lead of 275. I think they started the day with 253. So, all in all, not the best showing for them. But I mean, PXG is starting to shine. I think we've seen that they've really stepped up as well. AKO Legends, they were second. They've dropped to third now, but they're still kind of in the running right here. So there is a bit of a gap in terms of, the A, B groups versus the C team, which they haven't played any of their matches. So, and everything else will kind of just even out in the end, but we're going to get there as we get into Group B versus C.
Yeah, and I think something we also need to remember is we have to take a look at the bottom end of the leaderboard as well. So Umbrella Reborn, they've been slowly catching up. They're getting their points. They're sitting in the middle of the bracket. So now up to 100 points. Now, keep in mind, they have already played 2 games. So it's not to say that some of these teams can't catch up, but Umbrella Reborn do have a little bit of an advantage here when it comes to points. And the same thing with Do Easy. I feel like we have to give props to Do Easy. They really showed up today. But the question is, can they keep it up?
Yeah, getting that booyah is going to give you a lot of momentum moving forward. But look, from I think 10th place to almost like 16th, 17th, like these are all in play, right? Getting into those last 3 spots to the 12th place is going to be, anybody's game. We have so many days left. This is just 5 out of 12 in terms of league days. The potential to just make that upset and to get yourself back into the game is very, very possible. You need to just be mentally strong. Make sure that, hey, if you have an off day, that's fine. But we need to shrug it off. We need to figure out how to continue to keep playing well. And I think the entire theme of this entire MCP has been consistency, consistency, consistency. Very difficult to say 3 times, but if you can play very well and make sure that you get your points and your placements, you're going to do really well in this league. And that's just a matter of just making sure that you're in the middle, make sure you get into that grand finals where all the money's at.
Speaking of money, so we're going to be having Group B versus C in just a moment. We've got Purgatory as the first map. We're going to be playing Bermuda after this. And for our first series of the day, when we had Bermuda, we had our first circle of the day end up in the river, which ended up being I want to say that was a really good case of RNG there. It wasn't, when there's water between you, Free Fire doesn't really give you the best mechanics for crossing the river, does it?
Yeah, it's not easy to do, and sometimes Lady Luck is on your side, sometimes it's against you, but in this case, for PXG Radicals in that one monster game that they had, they ended up winning, but look, if we're going to have any sort of winning, this is going to be the skin code. It's going to be here. It's just claim that one, put that one down, take a screenshot, make sure that you get it, pass it to your friends, let them know. This is not a first come, first serve basis. If you're just first time you're tuning into MCP, we do this every single league day. Make sure you just tune in, put in the code, and then you're free to do it. But the only thing is that you need to make sure that you redeem it by the end of this stream.
Make sure you claim it, folks. Don't miss out. Free goodies. It's free stuff. If you miss out on free stuff, I don't know what would be very impressive anymore. All right, so Paula, I think we're going to have a little bit of a discussion here, right? So we've already seen Group B play. This is going to be the first time we see Group C play today. Who do you feel is going to pop off?
I mean, going in from the last play day, 4X-Men Expert with 42 points, Blacklist International had 40 points. These are the top 2 teams of the Group Cs. These are the teams to watch until they get shut down. These are the ones that you need to make sure you keep an eye out for, and that's going to be with AJ and Husky. The casters, please take it away for match B versus C.
Thank you very much to our hosts, Danelli and Holler, once more. Yes, before before we went to the break, AJ, you did point it out. The 4X Men Expert is the team to watch. Currently in 5th place, still going on that crusade to make it at least to top 1, especially when they only debuted their whole lineup during FFMC, which just ended slightly under 2 months ago. So there's still a lot of room for them to grow. They're still riding on that momentum, being the new kid on the block and putting up great performances. Do you expect them to have this whole breakout round for the rest of the day?
I'm hoping for them to have it because they deserve it, right? I mean, little by little, they've been improving, but dude, this is not going to be easy at all because as much as we have to keep our eyes on 4X-Men Expert, Group C is the potential group of game changers, right? Because we've got views and metrics in there. We've seen exactly how these two squads have been doing in the past weeks. Blacklist International will be stepping into the mix as well, and these boys have got something to prove, and they are hungry, man. Blacklist International hasn't been on the mark at all, but they're maintaining their composure. They're not falling too far away from their usual supremacy, right? But each and every single team in here in Group C, they are going to be bringing a change to this matchup, and I'm looking forward to seeing perhaps Almighty bringing a little bit more of that Batman play, right? And stronger perhaps, because we've seen Almighty go into these fights, Husky.
Yeah,
bad decisions after bad decisions.
That has definitely been kind of the storyline that I think Almighty is not happy with, right? We look at how Almighty, 3 out of 4 of the members were previously from Divinity, and while they were on Divinity, it was a pretty disappointing run if you're a Divinity supporter back then. But I think right now in Almighty, even though they're 11th place, it definitely feels like there's a lot more promises that they can bring forth. Three different teams to look at. I would say Blacklist International, we always say that there's support to this team. It seems that they're underperforming, but they somehow are still in 4th place, a position where they're definitely not going to be complaining much about. Then you have Forestman Expert, the new team, the up and coming superstars, and you follow that up with Almighty. So there's a lot to unpack, but perhaps this first round in Purgatory is going to give us a better inkling of what's to come.
Absolutely, man. Let's put it in this way, right? What the audience can expect. Number 1, Almighty definitely... Well, please fly away. Please fly away. Nope. Almighty's definitely going to get into a gunfight early on. And I don't think that's going to end well. But what I was about to say was, one thing that the audience can expect is crazy, crazy fights in here. Because Group C, none of them are in that bottom 13 to 18, right? All of the teams within Group C are in the top 12 in here, potentially to qualify for the grand finals. But they need to be able to maintain their consistency, at least to what they've shown us in those past weeks. Auto knockout, taking out Yun from the side of Team Fast Kill. Team Fast Kill ain't getting those kills fast, but they surely are getting taken down. Ali as well goes out of the equation. Team Fast Kill. Fast Kill.
Obvious. One thing that we know and love and or hate about Team Fast Kill is this is one of it.
Yeah.
it happens every now and then, but when it does, it reminds you what Team Fast Kill has always been. And
I hate it, man. I
understand.
Beyond disappointing, because it's not like they are a chum squad, bro. We've seen Team Fast Kill go in here and rip all those other opponents through. They end some matches with the Booyah, 19 kills? Okay, Booyah is not a frequent occurrence for them, but 19 kills, sometimes ranging up to those 20s. Almighty, they don't look really well, just like what we have seen their brothers from Fast Kill face. Perhaps certain annihilation here. Batman, the MVP in my eyes for the side of Almighty. He's down and out for the count. Shira as well as Ren, 2 very capable players who have not been able to show us their best sides just yet. The numbers don't look good on their end, and I think Freedom Rumble might just go for all 4 of these points.
Way too early for Batman to come out of his bat cave. Right, they call it a bat cave, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I was... No, I was taking the shot at the reference and I thought I got it wrong. Okay. So, because the only Batman, film I watched was The Dark Knight, and Deco's, finishes off the last member of Fast Kill MY, and just like you mentioned, it is Fast Kill MY for this round. So yeah, AKO Legends getting themselves 4 points to start off the round. Considering how the first 2 matches that they played were not the best, I believe
Yeah.
that this round is already looking better.
Yeah, I don't play Free Fire every single day, but I play a little bit of Free Fire myself. I can guarantee you can fly away from the drop zone when you see other players moving in there, man. I do not understand, Husky. I mean, do some of these teams actually overestimate their own capabilities of taking some of these gunfights? I mean, I don't have to say anything. Some of these fights kind of give us an answer, doesn't it?
Well, I guess so. I guess you can put it that way, right? I think
Is
again.
Phoenix all alone?
What it does? Yeah, it is. He is.
What is he doing?
This is Mode House, right? Yeah, this is 100% Mode House.
Where's everybody else? What? What's Phoenix doing all alone? This little birdie.
I'm telling you, I think Blacklist International figured out that probably there's gonna be no one around Mode House, so they are just spreading themselves out thin to cover more ground. I mean, if you have enough information, I think this is completely fine.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would come to Mode House. Like, why would anyone go to Mode House? Except for Blacklist International, right? Because you essentially get yourself a free compound with a lot of loot, so that is good. But now it comes down to how they want to play the rest of the round. Depending on where the circle forms, Blacklist International will need to make very early plannings on how to navigate and how to proceed into the later stage of the game.
I have a suspicion on Blacklist International.
Okay.
I don't think they're throwing games on purpose, but I think they are focusing on something very, very specific, and they don't care about the MCP majors. And here's why I think so, right?
Wait, hold on. They don't care about the major, or they don't care about the group stage.
I don't think they. Okay, great point. I think they don't care about the group stages.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, you're treading a very thin line there. Like,
Yeah, but even if they don't win this MCP majors, I don't think Blacklist International is the kind of squad, the kind of brand that would, for the lack of the better word, give two hoots, right? Because it's all been about a natural level of progress for these players. And they seem to be focusing on one thing and one thing only, not winning gunfights, but getting all of their rotations as well as those compound holes really, really well for themselves. I don't see the aggressive side of Blacklist International anymore. You know that aggressive side. So I think this is very, very intentional. And when I say they don't care about the MCP majors, I mean it in a way whereby they're focusing in on this one thing, map mastery. And the moment they get that, this is going to be that untouchable squad in the whole of Free Fire.
Yes, something is brewing underneath Blacklist.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
I think that to a certain extent that could definitely be the case. No, not seeing Blacklist International being the aggressive players that they have. It's definitely a bit of fresh air, but good drive-by from the side of XBR. I mean, one completely catches guy off guard, and that is the member of AKO Legend. They just get gunned down in the open. I mean, XBR, they have figured it out. We saw them in the previous round doing all this setup, but that is the confidence. And look at RSG. He has no regards. He's driving past two members of AKO. He's forcing them to drop those blue walls. And he's just gathering information. In fact, he is enjoying himself. And with all of these info relayed back to XBR, this is going to allow them to plan their future move better. Now RN is going to regroup with his team. They kind of have that high ground advantage because of him. And they're really pushing in. RN goes into the time till they're playing ring around the tree trunk. And RN is going to buy as much time as possible. Taken still takes them out. But is it enough time? It is. One from the low ground takes out Deagles. Taken will find Shiro. And that's the second member of XBR going down. Taken with the third of the guns. And maybe XBR have just pushed the limits. And indeed they have. Ones have no more chances. He's backing off. And the rest of his team, they're all going to go down.
Yeah, high risk, high reward, and not every day is Sunday, my friend. Today, as a matter of fact, is a Saturday. One has got no choice whatsoever but to back away. We saw a situation like this happen in the previous a couple of rounds as well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, where you go in for the full commit and you find out you just made the biggest mistake of your life, right? But I feel like perhaps they have taken away enough from Auto Knockout, and the rest of the squads, especially Supreme Assault Forces and PXG, can look to take advantage advantage of that fact, right? Because AKO is going to be having that tough time. Umbrella Reborn, iPad, oh, what a nade flying through straight towards his face, knocks him down onto the ground, but the pickup isn't going to be too tough now. They need to be able to find this flank onto Taken, and ZJ finds that angle, and Taken will be forced to pull out his glue wall. Beautiful plays coming in here from Umbrella Reborn, Husky.
Yeah, and Taken, he did not have much time to recuperate after that 1 versus 3, and he's gonna bow out. You know, that is his final stand, and Umbrella Reborn just happened to drop by at the correct time. Will's now getting absolutely dropped on by 4X-Man Expert. It is 4X-Man Expert who gets the first blood onto Ember Lori, and they're gonna go for more. Also, Blue Wall is getting dropped down and shot through Aoki, and now Forte will trade 2 in return, but 4X-Man Expert, they're already committed, and that means they want to finish what they started. Jumpa is gonna be the third one to go down. So Forte once more, getting himself 2 kills, and 4X-Man Expert, they all fall apart.
The two teams that I was looking out for, Views as well as 4X-Man Expert, they take a fight up against each other, and you know exactly why we've been looking out for these squads, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Absolute beauty in terms of the action here, and I believe it's Goku, the one that is still alive and kicking for the side of 4X-Man Expert. Now that guy has to go in for the placement points. High risk, high reward, very clearly shown in here. Advice will be don't take those risky plays early on in that match, Husky.
I feel like 4X-Man Expert had a good start, but Wills won the gunfights, and I think that is...
It was too open.
Yeah, and that was the kicker. That was honestly the kicker. I think 4X-Man Expert, they got the perfect drop, but Wills just held on slightly better than 4X-Man Expert, and it really costed them. So good on Wills' side, because their defense was solid. I think if it was any other scenario, 4X-Man Expert would have gotten a full team wipe for sure. So it's just one of those moments. I think 4X-Man Expert, they took the chance, they committed to it, and they suffered a bit too much losses. So good for Wheels, not that good for 4X-Man Expert, but I wouldn't blame any team. I think those two did a great job.
I would blame 4X-Man Expert, my friend. I definitely... Bro, don't start a gunfight you are not sure you can finish up, right? And if you don't have a great compound, if you don't have a great defensive position, why would you start a fight? We saw that action, man. It was all out in the open. So many of those time turners, glue walls got popped out. It was a 50-50 either way. And, you know, you really need to depend on luck at that point. And 4X-Man Expert, I don't think they realize, but luck really isn't on their side.
Yeah. This is one of the few times where we probably have a bit of disagreement, but I think I mean I feel like 4X-Man Expert did the right thing simply because they got the drop onto Wheels and they got the first knock, right? I feel like if I'm put in that situation, I would have asked for commitment. Obviously, Wheels played really well with the time turner and all, and we saw 4X-Man Expert a bit disjointed. That was probably their fault for sure. But the initiative, I feel like, was still good for 4X-Man Expert regardless. But we just saw Ipan's having no chance at all as Forbis just sends a bullet through his chest. Well, not his chest, his shoulder. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Blacklist International now playing the game of patience. Freedom Rumble might be able to ask a few questions, shake their patience up a little bit, make them make a couple of extra mistakes in here. Grizzly, beautiful takedown. PXG, come on, Barba taken down by Grizzly as well. This little bat is on fire. Beautiful takedown. Thanamo knocked out of the situation, goes in for the delete on Barba as well. This guy's just getting everything done on his own, and is the one and only Umbrella Reborn. Insanity running with his tail between his legs. PXG, the supreme Filipino squad, they have got nothing against Umbrella Reborn, who have a great vantage point here. Aaron now, beautiful knock coming back through, and he will be picked up right away. Zay now going down as well. All of these questions being brought forth by the MVP, Ramiel, but SAF from the back finishes him off, Husky.
Yeah, and SAF also finds Zay in the process, so that's a 2-for-1 if I've ever seen one. When SAF, you know they're coming for more, and Umbrella Reborn, they have stirred the Hornet's nest. By accident, they went for the honey, and they end up bringing in the yellow jacket. So SAF, they're coming in for the cleanup, but Freedom Rumble will want to clean up Blacklist International. Manflank is down, but so far for the rest of Freedom Rumble, they're not fully committing just yet. just waiting for the moment, and this is it. Clans gets a trade, and the exchange is gonna come in from both Freedom Rumble and Blacklist International, but it feels like Blacklist International are doing just fine. They bring Manflank back up, Clans goes back down to the ground, Manflank down for a second time as Freedom Rumble brute forces their way to try and take down Blacklist International, but the result is Blacklist International biting back, and Freedom Rumble bites the dust.
Oh, Views now coming in to ask a couple of questions.
Oh,
Manflank as well as Phoenix on the ground. Beautiful toss in there. That Kobe will eliminate Manflank as well as Phoenix as well. Back-to-back nades coming through. And now Blacklist International, they don't have a choice. Views, the team to look out for, is on fire. And Limit goes in for the knockout. And Blacklist International now eliminated as well. Views rising up to the top.
And welcome to the Free Fire food chain of the top dogs, as Will's right now leading with 7 kills as SAF continues their conquest to remain as the leader of the league. Eric's gonna be the last man to try to run away, but there is no chances. Let's go. We'll clean it up. SAF backs their 5th kill, and we are down to the last 6 teams.
What a lobby, Aski. I'm absolutely enjoying all of this action, man. I mean, we talked about Views a little bit as to how they... I wouldn't say we've counted them out. I wouldn't say we haven't given them a lot, the attention they deserve. We've talked about them a little bit, and huge props to this squad, man. They've been stepping it up little by little, week after week, and I feel like this might just be their lobby. They should be able to catch Goku off guard in here as well. And Balore might be able to open things up for X-Men Expert, the next squad, to perhaps get eliminated. But look at that zone now. The zone is going to be helping Views pull Goku towards their end, and after they finish off Goku, they should be able to take down Shira as well as Ren. It's just going to be Views up in here, eating everybody up. You are right, my man. This is the food chain of Free Fire, and Views the one right on top.
Now, so far, Views have been the apex, and you can see the Forestman Expert. They have Goku left alive, the remnants of the team, and look at all those nades. They're bouncing through, and Aoki's one's gonna connect. So Goku blown up into smithereens as one from cannot brain. He is pretty much gonna go down. I think in this case, probably he might try to surrender himself to the blue zone if there's no chance, but I think Wills haven't seen him just yet. Forte will kind of proceed late to join his team. SAF though, they're showing up, and this is gonna be interesting. SAF, they are in a better position compared to Wills simply because they're in the circle. Now the question is, can SAF eliminate this predator?
12 seconds more. Views needs to make their move in, and the better rotation around this would be to eliminate Cannot Brain. Beautiful call by Mbalore, and now Almighty needs to be the one. But SAF not waiting for anything. Beautiful response from Views. Double glue wall onto the pop. Aoki cooks up that nade, but a little bit too late. The boy doesn't let it go, and Views gonna be in trouble. Mbalore, can he save them? Let's go. Going in for the approach, and yes, got the shotgun in hand. Views about to get snuffed out. SAF with those questions. Let's go. And this is all over. Aoki has been deleted as well. The numbers don't look good. The first ones to aggress will be able to get the fight, and it is SAF all the way through. And Almighty, the next meal on the plate, Husky.
Yeah, the main course has been consumed, and it's dessert time for SAF. Almighty only left with 2 guys, the Shira and Ren, and there's nothing that they can do. And in fact, Shira is waiting in this watchtower. He sees everyone for SAF. Can he pull off the clutch of the game? It doesn't seem very likely, at least for now. But Rory the nade, it actually does tag on the Shira, but not too much. SAF, they know where Almighty is. Shira will not be able to spring his ambush, and in fact, Almighty, they are gone. SAF stays alive, and they are the only team that has a chance, at least for now. They still have a full team down there. It's gonna be Metrics, the first time we see them on screen, but it might just be the last time we see them on screen for this round.
Yeah, may I just say, my friend, this final zone pretty much belongs to Group C. We don't see anybody else in there, man. I mean, Cannot Brain taken out early on. Umbrella Reborn, they couldn't bring much in here as well. And MTX, I believe this is a fight that is all over. You're taking it up against SAF, and they have got the vantage point. Mac Rory, look at the pressure that he puts on to all of these players. Daymoon going in for the aggressive push, though. I don't know if or not that is a great idea. Those nades need to be cooked up. Daymoon now goes down. That was the bad move I was talking about, asking.
Yeah, and SAF, they might have blown their chances. You can see that for the side of Metrics, they are sending members onto the edge of the circle, so the flank is going to be set up pretty soon. SAF forced to retreat, and SAF, they're gone! Metrics, they strike down, and SAF will not get that booyah. In fact, it's Metrics getting themselves the second one in this group stage.
I'll tell you exactly what happened here, right? The top of the line Predator sitting down at the very top thought that Metrics was that very final meal to go in and eat up, and they choked, bro. They literally choked on this meal. Metrics ripped all of those players from SAF from inside out. Absolutely right, Metrics. Boo, yeah. And a very well-deserved one as well. Dude, they didn't have the vantage point. They had no right to pick this kill. They had no right to pick this booyah up. But they can thank Daemoon for that. Let's bring our host right back in here, Daddy, as well as Hollow. Welcome back.
Wow, that was a very unexpected late game.
Yeah.
What just happened? What just happened? I was like, oh, SAF, they won this one. That's good to go. It was just how many kills? They had 9 or so kills. But Metch one team going up against SAF and just completely dominating them in the end. And it looked like SAF didn't really have the right footing. They were completely caught off guard by this team.
SAF had no, there's no incentive to even try and take on Metrics. No, they had the circle, they had the high ground. I think SAF just felt a bit too confident, right? They decided to move out of their comfort zone. They went straight for Metrics. And if there's anyone to blame, I feel like SAF really gave it away.
Yeah. They did. Danny, do you agree with Husky? A little bit of overconfidence there, especially in that final fight from Daemon?
They just rushed it. I think that's essentially what happened, right? They didn't. They could have approached it slowly. I was looking at the inventories to see like who had more resources. SAF had so many glue walls to work with. They could have either moved slowly, they could creep forward, or they could wait for Metrics to come to them. But instead, they decided we're gonna rush. Confidence can kill you.
You know, like when you're
it literally did.
You know, like when you're a kid and you run down a hill, what ends up is you're just gonna roll down and probably end up in the clinic or something. I think that's what happened to SAF. They decided to do just that. And this is not the first time we see Daemoon playing like the Terminator, just running into 4 guys. And that was exactly what happened. He decided to just run in. I believe we were watching like McRory, and then on the edge of the screen, we just see this guy Daemoon just run into a time turner, and it just races. But yeah, SAF, like, come on, guys, they're still the best team, no doubt. But it could have been slightly cleaner.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about Blacklist International and their lackluster performance in this competition thus far. But I have to put out a disclaimer that they were outnumbered. It was just back-to-back fights that they were taking. But I want to talk a little bit about their strategy, right? From an aggressive squad, Danny, that you were so used to from MCP Major Season 1, into now what seems to be a bunch of boys who potentially, number one, are focusing on something really good here. If they master, they'll be able to be the kings of Free Fire for a long time, and they'll be able to reign. But if they perhaps forget a little bit of their old aggression, do you think they'll be able to find it back?
I'm not sure if it's a case of maybe they're just waiting for the finals, like maybe just coming in with the surprise aggression.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I wish I knew what Blacklist are doing. I think a lot of people, including myself, have been rooting for them. We knew what they're capable of during the last season. And then coming into this season, it's like, is it Blacklist playing? Like, is this another team under the Blacklist flag? So I'm really confused on what's going on with the squad. But the only thing that makes sense to me is that they're waiting for the finals. That's my prediction.
Which makes a lot of sense. If you are the top dog, you don't want anyone to know or see you as the top dog, right? I mean, it is Sun Tzu's art of war at the end of the day. Deception is one of the best tools to use in a war horror.
Yeah, I do agree with that. But I think, I mean, if we're looking at it just, changing positions a little bit, SAF, they're like, no, we don't really care. We're going to be at the front runners. We want to be seen as that guy. We want that target on our back. But Blacklist International, I feel like this is a team that, you had a little bit of a change in terms of org and all that. Maybe their theme song of Baby Shark has just been changed into some other song, and they just don't have that theme song to get them motivated in these games because they're a completely different team, right? This is not the team that we know of from Season 1. So it's interesting seeing how they kind of maybe save strats, but they really need to pick it up because they don't want to be caught on the bottom here.
Yeah.
I think there's a balance between like saving strats and having to save yourself towards the end. I think Blacklist International, the gap is widening. AJ is no longer just 100 points; it is beyond 100 points. I mean, if there's any time for Blacklist International or any other teams to step up, this is the time. I think saving strats is. I think it is still viable, but you have to look at it and ask yourself, do we really want to save our cars and just wait for the grand finals? What if that moment never comes, right? Or what if by the time we qualify for the grand finals, the strats became irrelevant?
Yeah, it's a gamble, right? It's a gamble of money. I mean, you take the 4th position in the group stages in the league circuit, you get about, 1,400 USD for yourself in comparison to 2,000 USD if you pick up the number 1 spot. And then you go to the finals, and if you are able to execute this strategy that we are all pulling this out of goodness nowhere, right, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, these are all assumptions. But if that strategy does get pulled off well by Blacklist International, dude, they are fighting for that 15,000 USD.
And if we're looking at the round standings now, SAF, even though the fact they didn't get the booyah, they still got 19 points. They got 10 kills, which is pretty crazy. Metrics with 5 themselves, so they really stepped up as well. Woos and Umbrella Reborn. Man, don't sleep on these guys. These guys have been middle of the pack all day today. You know what I mean? Like, the other teams need to be aware that, hey, they're surviving. They're able to get their kills. Umbrella Reborn, you might want to mark these guys out because they're coming for you, and they're actually starting to make their way up in the overall standings.
Actually, I'm not sure if anyone else has noticed on the leaderboard, but take a look at AKO Legends. So even though they're one of the first 2 teams to get knocked out, if you get those kills, you can still sit in the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
So this is just another example of why those kill points are so important. I feel like we emphasize it a lot, but I feel like some of these teams don't take it as seriously. I'm not sure if it's a case of maybe they don't feel confident grabbing these kills, because at the end of the day, you need to be a sure shot if you're going to get them.
Yeah, what I like about this particular lobby was, look at from the 7th all the way down to the 12th, right? AKO, Blacklist International, 4X-Men, X-Men, Freedom, Rumble, PXG, Fastkill. These are all big squads that we can expect a lot out of. And yet here they are not making the cut. Whilst, teams like Almighty, Cannot Brain, Umbrella Reborn, they are, starting to step it up. Almighty, this is the first match that they have jumped on into, but great performance in terms of placement points for themselves. They have not been able to find those kills, but hopefully they will be able to sandbag those points a little bit later on, right? Because once again, if Almighty themselves don't continue to maintain, I guess, at the very least, the consistency that Umbrella Reborn is showing us, moving down the board, that's going to hurt them, and they're not going to qualify through.
Yeah, and this is how you know that SAF is just a very consistent team, right? Because we are seeing a few rounds where they start in the middle of the pack, but overall, they never really drop to the very bottom. They're either middle or they're at the top, whereas their competitors, sometimes they're at the top, sometimes they drop all the way to the bottom of the ocean, and that is what has been widening the gap in terms of the placement, in terms of the overall points for SAF and the other teams. And we're starting to finally see that in fruition. SAF is constantly making sure that they are somewhere at the top while everyone else just fights for scraps.
Yeah, and I think it's just due to the fact that they're able to be mechanically sound. They're hitting their shots. They almost always get their kills. They are, they average about 30 kills a day, right? So this is a team that is at the top. Everyone, I mean, if you could, like, some teams don't even get 30 points in a day, right? So they get 30 kills, and the fact that they're just completely dominating, it really doesn't matter what placement they're getting. They're able to get their points. So this is, again, very, very consistent team they need to be careful about.
Yeah, from that 6th position onwards, even the league stages, it does make quite a big of difference, because every time you move up 1 rank, you get an extra 200 USD in the bank for your squad as well from the league circuit. So, it's a great motivation. At the end of the day, the top 12, I guess that's what the fight is going to be for, because in terms of supremacy, in terms of getting that name for your brand as true victors, that fight is for the grand finals. For the time being, it's about that extra pocket money, guys.
It is that extra pocket money. Now, next map is going to be Bermuda. I don't know why my tongue just started to be paralyzed today. So Bermuda's our next matchup. It's a super fast map. Are we still just going to see this SAF domination, or is this maybe the time where SAF just has a very kind of day?
No, maybe this time we will see 5 teams drop into Mars Electric, Danny.
I would like to see that.
All right, so it looks like Bermuda's going to be loading right now. Husky, AJ, take it away for match 4.
Hey, thank you so much, Holler. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, flight path this time, observatory cutting through all the way down towards Mill, which means Mars Electric, thankfully, is not easily accessible, which means the teams are not going to be pushing in for it. Blacklist International, on the other hand, gonna get involved in a very tough fight early on. Shipyard, and it looks like SAF are the ones who are pulling away. Blacklist International, one player straying away, and I don't think this is going to end up well for them at all, Husky.
Oh boy, I'm not really sure how this is gonna turn out, but I feel like Blacklist International are in a worse spot. In fact, you thought that they're pulling away, but Blacklist International, they're actually coming back slowly, kind of surrounding this area. I don't know if they want. It is okay. I'm just confused. Now, okay, man. I feel like Blacklist International probably won't push the issue unless SAF catches them off guard. But a part of me feels like Blacklist International is trying to suppress that caveman DNA. You know, they just don't want to clobber your prey whenever you see them. Same as FSK, I guess. Yun is completely alone, and in fact, they cannot brain near them. And never mind, he's down. He's
Shiro, beautiful.
Well,
it takes. Yeah, sorry, buddy. Sorry. I think we keep overlapping each other. My true apologies. Clanks here.
It was just expression like, well, you know, it happened again.
Manflang holding on to a great angle here for himself, but the snipe from Let's Go might be able to snuff him out. Needs to be careful, and I don't think he can get the range on with the gun that he has in hand. Let's Go, on the other hand, should be able to ask these great questions together with McRory, and we've seen the snipes coming in from McRory as to how they are. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Manflag, he might be able to take a shot, but if the whole of the SAF squad turn around and fire at him at the same time, Blacklist International will have a tough time going in for the pickup. And now Cobra, that's the situation that is left down here. Manflank with the opportunity now to pull in a distraction for Cobra to be safe. Is this guy going to be able to do it? He needs to go in for the knock on to Let's Go at the very least. But Cobra gets taken out by McRory, and this was that tough situation that I was talking about. McRory with the angle as well as the distance to take these fights. Manflank is not going to be able to make much of a difference. And look at SAF, man, launching themselves up into the air. Blacklist International has got nothing on them, and SAF, they steal a quick kill onto the most lethal player of Blacklist International, and they get away from it, but fall straight into the crosshairs of Views. This is a crazy lobby, Husky.
Well, exactly. Just this, what we love to see as Alforte somehow takes out Let's Go with a shotgun. What is Alforte doing? It finds 2 kills. Okay, SAF, you might have overestimated your ability, and in fact, Wheels, I feel like they want to go for more. Alforte, that's 2 kills on the side of SAF, and here comes Ambalore. He wants to join his teammate. SAF on the run. McGrory and Forbes, the top 2 kill leaders of the team, left alive. They are deadly when together, but here comes the flank. Ambalore rushing in with the Tommy. Forbes can really hold off. Forbes is going to take out one. Has the glue wall to buy himself a bit of time. Maybe this is a chance for SAF to turn it around, but look at who is on the horizon. It is going to be Blacklist International. Forbes is going to go down as Alforte gets them back. SAF, they misjudged their advantage, and they will get eliminated. But now it's Will's turn to have to handle the mess that SAF started, and that's Blacklist International.
Yeah, we're still keeping an eye on Views, man. I mean, this was the squad that I thought might take those aggressive pushes today, but I did not expect this at all, Husky. This is a total shock for me. I expected Views to improve a little bit, you know. Maybe get those 4th spots. Maybe get that 5th placement for themselves. Not really, you know, shock us in terms of their performance in here. But I guess, you know, the RNG gods are on their side. But the way Views took that fight was really, really well managed. All except Ambalore, of course, who I have no idea for what reason. I understand the part where he pulled out the time turner. I do not understand the part where he just did not wait to see what the response from his opponent was going to be. And he goes in to heal himself in the time turner right in front of his opponent. He got taken out. And without Ambalore in the mix, it's not going to be easy for Views to get into that final zone as it was previously.
Yeah, and Well, with that being said, at least we know that SAF is not going to have too much of a showing in this round,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
good news for Blacklist International and every other team from that Group C at least. Will's definitely showing up. Even the first round just now was not too bad. They were in the middle, and oh boy, the glue wall goes down at the wrong timing, and up palm. That was all a bait. Maybe it is. Vegeta puts his time to protect his buddy, and that is what good friends do. You keep each other alive, and at least for Freedom Rumble, they have not lost anyone to Forex-Man Expert, and in fact, they even took out the vehicles. So Forex-Man Expert, they are now trapped in the outer ring of the safe zone.
Let's see exactly how they will handle this because, tanking the safe zone and the damage that it brings on from the first round, it's not going to be that much of an issue at all. They have to focus in on Freedom Rumble's positioning because they are trying to get the flank onto them and cut off their entry in towards Pochinok, which I think is a great movement coming in here from the side of Freedom Rumble. But at the same time, they seem to be breaking away from each other. They are strong in numbers. Freedom Rumble, although they are a mechanically sound squad, they're not going to be able to take these aggressive fights up against 4X-Men Expert, and Orin finds that out the very, very hard way.
Oh yeah, it definitely could be just that, right? 4X-Men Expert, they just got a kill onto Orin. That means the rest of Freedom Rumble, they're gonna just not engage at all. In fact, the whole fight will disperse. But on the other side, Umbrella Reborn taking on BXG Radicals once more, and Tanamo will shut it all down. This fight was long over before it began, and Umbrella Reborn will not fight Resurrection in this game. But Grizzly, he's gonna try to run away. 7 HP, heals himself up, and completely pressured by the entirety of BXG Radicals. His time is gonna be completely ended, and in a flash as well, PXG Radicals wipes them out.
Oh, what a beautiful take by the side of PXG, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm very sure Tanamo was not the one that threw that flash out, but that enabled him to get such an easy kill on his opponent. Freedom Rumble now going in for the push. They might be able to find a couple of kill points off of the players here from Cannot Brain, but they have to be careful because if they go in for a Callus push, Cannot Brain can very easily pull a flank here. And look at that, the monster truck being brought into the game, which means Shiro as well as Squad, they would have been able to hit one of those air drops, which only goes to mean that Cannot Brain is so much more stronger now. This is that one squad that has been stepping it up little by little, and yet they sit down at the bottom of the leaderboards. Cannot Brain, with all of the aggressive maneuvers, are still in that 17th position, 85 points away from catching up to the 12th spot and qualifying.
Yeah, you're in trouble when the difference between your
46.
points and the team, when the difference between your point and the points to the bare minimum to qualify is reaching 100. That is a huge problem because
apologies, bro. I made a mistake in calculation there. I'm very bad at maths. 46 points, not 86.
So it's 100 divided by 2. That is not too bad.
Yeah,
but still a lot. You gave me a heart attack. It was. Coincidentally, it was like that one moment I wasn't looking at the stats, like just for a while, and you tell me that it's close to 100. My brain just processed it and like, oh my goodness, 100? I guess they're not making it then.
Yeah, my bad, sir. My bad. I'll brush up on the mathematics, but then again, I've been very actively avoiding numbers all my life because I used to hate school. Batman doesn't look like he's caught in a very great position here. And PXG, what? SAF off screen have gotten taken out of the game already. But then again, Husky, don't forget, you were the one who mentioned it at the start of the day, even before broadcast. This is the squad can literally go on the whole of today, not playing, not picking up a single point, and still remain in that number 1 spot, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, even if Blacklist gets a booyah, they still have almost 90 points to catch up to SAF. Like that SAF right now, that is kind of the least of their worries. Obviously, I'm not saying that you should be very complacent, but you have just so much margin for error, right? I think SAF. That was just unfortunate. They took on a fight against Blacklist International. They got third party by Wheels, and of course, Blacklist, they are not known for letting their prey get away, so they finished what they started. Almighty taking on PXG Radicals. This is going to be interesting. Is that he has the nade, but he's holding it in front of Jay-Z, and Jay-Z goes for the push. That is the correct aggression. And while all of this is happening, look at who is on the horizon. It's Wheels, and Wheels about to be intercepted by Fast and why? There's gonna be two different fights on the map right now, as Almighty will be the first team on the radar. Shira fights 2 spray downs onto PXG. This might just end it off for PXG Radicals, as Insanity is gonna bleed out. Tanamo gets taken out by Ren. Ren fights 2. Raymail goes down. Almighty might still have a chance. And while this carnage is ongoing, Will is about to crash the party. And because this is what they do, XBR is about to crash the party. The first nade is not gonna land, but XBR, if there's any chance for them to get some points, this is it.
Oh, beautiful plays coming in here from Cannot Brain. They take advantage. Almighty right in front of them. Guns now stepping up front. They should be able to snuff him out. Shiro gets taken out of the equation. Guns as well falls down. Very bad approach coming in here from Cannot Brain, but they need to be able to take advantage. One goes down as well. Jay-Z is absolutely on fire. Arons manages to get the drop onto him. Gets the delete as well, but now he needs to play this safe. He does not have any more of aggression on his side, but he does have those nades which are just not being used. It could have just been such a game changer in there, but Arons, he chooses to go in here to heal himself and backs away from yet another fight that they started. XBR just needs to learn to fully commit into these battles, and this is one player now surviving. Arons finally pulls that nade out. Is he going to be able to make a difference, getting shot on the way back in there for that access? And the players from AMT, they've lucked out on this fight, man.
I'm surprised that XBR was not able to win it out, Almighty was pressured from all angles. That was the perfect chance, but Cannot Brain, kind of missed the mark, I guess. Now Aaron, he is going to run away, leaving Almighty to their own devices, because Almighty now will find another team, and it's going to be Metrics, a team that got the booyah in the previous round. And Metrics, they're not stingy with their grenades at all. They're lobbing it from every single opening of this house. That Blue Wall is just going to reflect one, but Shuffy still sprays down Shira. They just have the overwhelming numbers, and regardless of how good Almighty are, they just cannot deal with the numbers advantage that Metrics brings in. And it's only a matter of time before Almighty gets wiped out. Xiaofeng will take the 3rd kill, and they see the feet of Ren, and they're gonna blow his limbs off. That's gonna be Almighty out.
That's how you take a compound, man. I mean, what are those nades even for, Husky? I mean, we've seen these examples so many times around already, and I feel like Cannot Brain just messed that up big time for themselves. I don't know if they were trying to save some of their lethals for a fight later on, but now Metrics should be able to snuff Arons out of this equation as well. And even if Arons manages to survive that fight, Views is just right behind him to pick up exactly where MTX has left off of. And Alforte from afar should be able to take this fight up. Auto Knockout, we take a quick peek in here at them as well, who are having their crosshairs set onto the players of Blacklist International, who in their own right, they are not having the best of days. I still think that, they are trying to focus in here on something, and I hope they find what they're looking for, Husky.
Me too, my friend. I think Blacklist International, they are on this, well, what was that? What's the term? What's the term when you're on
Map mastery.
Yeah, map mastery.
Vendetta.
I was thinking of, like, the journey to achieve enlightenment. I don't know what that Nirvana was it? I think Nirvana is the end goal, right?
Yeah, Nirvana is the end goal. I don't know. I've not really read much into spiritual stuff. The every single time I try, I fall asleep. I gotta go take some classes with these guys, man.
It's okay. There's a lot to learn about the world, for sure.
Yeah, fair enough.
For X-Men Expert, they are now facing up against FastQ and Y, and I think just looking at the head-to-head alone, I feel like for X-Men Expert, despite being in the lead in terms of points, I think FastQ has a better chance. But FastQ has always proven my expectation wrong. And if we go all the nades flying in, there's left, right, and center, there's flashbangs, there's frag grenades, and I think for FastQ and Y, they got better put on their sunglasses, because Forestman Expert feels like they're ready for a push. And indeed there is. Jeba somehow gets shot from an unknown angle, so that's something that he has to be cautious about. Monito, though, I'm not sure if that's the right move. He just rushes in. He's just gonna take the first fight. Limits, on the other hand, he's knocked down by the play zone as Wills will find himself in not a good position, having to take on Freedom Rumble and also Blacklist International as Limit will bleed out. Unfortunately, it's gonna be the next to go, and it feels like Wills will meet an untimely end as they are just completely caught out in the open.
Yeah, unfortunate, man. Views taken out at the end of the day. It was that initial player that they lost that perhaps made this biggest of difference. For X-Men Expert managing to snuff out the rest of the players in that compound, and this is just a win all the way for them. Can they get to that final zone, and can they pick that booyah up for themselves? Looking at the fact that the rest of the map, I don't think anybody else has got the numbers nor the mechanical capability other than Blacklist International to take a full fight up against them, Husky.
Yeah, I feel the same as well. I mean, Freedom Rumble, they are getting surgically dispatched by Blacklist International and Matrix. And Blacklist, they still have 3 guys left. And for the side of Matrix, I think they also have 3 members left. AKO Legends, haven't seen them much on the radar this game, but they finally showed up towards the final few circles of this match. 5 teams left, and it seems like all of them have a decent chance. Starting with Blacklist International, who probably has the best position right now, completely uncontested. As Mantai, he's going to be down by Aren, as cannot brain. They're not ready to go down without a fight, and Aren even gets the kill for himself. So if you're Matrix, they're going to feel bad about that because they have just lost 1 member. But at least Xbot's going to be able to finish off that final guy from XPR.
Yeah, auto knockout singing hallelujah right now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Look at that zone. 4 X-Men Expert. They are left all alone. Blacklist International a little bit close, but none of those squads as lucky as auto knockout has gotten here. RNG gods on their side, and now Blacklist International will be able to heal themselves up a little bit. And auto knockout just beyond the horizon will be able to come in here asking those questions. Metrics a little bit closer. They need to make sure they don't get caught out in the open. Phoenix now keeping an eye on to the players from Metrics. The information being called out by Manflank. Double nade being tossed in here. And Bot 77, what a play. But unfortunately, he takes himself out with the grenade launcher. Manflank on the ground. But the time turner should be able to pop the guy right back up onto his feet. Metrics, they need to go in here and take advantage of the situation. Blacklist International get eliminated. X-Bot 77, grenade launcher, perfection as the guy gets picked right back up. Now Metrics, are they going to be able to pick this booyah up? This is a fight between themselves as well as Auto Knockout, who had the zone earlier on, but now for X-Men Expert, they are bringing in the flank, and they might just be able to ask those tough questions. AKO a little bit distracted. Decos takes out Jabat from the side of for X-Men Expert. For X-Men Expert now eliminated. Metrics taking this fight up, but they need to take advantage of the situation right now. AKO is down and weak, Husky.
Yep, and Metrics, this might be 2 in a row. SAF had it in the first one, and they're about to take it all the way. The nade's gonna fly through. Glue wall goes down. AKO now is trying to buy as much time as possible. It's going straight for the backline, but they're just gonna blow him up. And AKO Legends fall. Metrics with 2 in a row, and this is the best possible start for the team.
What a play, Metrics. What a play. I didn't see that coming at all, Husky, from a mile away. And you know, they managed to bring in that consistency all the way to the freaking end, man. Metrics once again with the flex, well-deserved booyah. And it wasn't handed over to them, but they rip it out of the hands from the players that hold on to the number 1 spot, as well as the players who have shown us that they can touch that number 2 spot, man. Absolute crazy plays coming through from Metrics. Let's bring back our host, Danny, as well as Holla, and find out what they think about that match. Welcome back, guys.
Thank you. Wow, what an ending. I actually thought maybe Metrics wasn't going to get it because look, okay, here's my thinking. I was a bit worried for them because they were hesitating to go in at first because they couldn't see past the glue walls. They didn't know that basically they were waiting for 2 players to get picked up. So if they knew that, I think they would have just rushed in and be like, all right, guys, let's cook up grenades. Let's just get in there and really flush them out. But then it didn't matter. Metrics, strong team. This is such a good day for Metrics today.
Yeah. And Holla, I think the biggest game changer there was the grenade launcher, my friend. Do you agree?
Yeah. Right on that side. Yeah, definitely did what they could. I mean, but this is a Metrics team that was 11th place going in. We didn't really know what to expect. They're kind of in the middle of the ground. All of a sudden, they was second place last match, and then now they got the Booyah against AKO of all things. This is a team that's really just starting to just get into that upward trajectory that we're talking about. I mean, they're here to play. This is a monster first as they really step up here, and they've got 2 more matches to go, and I think they just want to get everything at this point.
All of the underdogs seem to be stepping up today, Husky, and the leaders of the leaderboard, they don't know exactly how to respond to this aggression. Auto knockout could have been taken out a little bit faster, but they were still given those few extra moments to top their health right back up and have a fair fight. But at the end, still with the mechanical capabilities of the side of Metrics, they still managed to win that fight. I did not see that coming, my friend.
Me neither. I think it's a slightly feels bad day for AKO Legends because the first time they were close to a Booyah, the circle was not in their favor. Second time they actually had the circle, but they just got run at by every single team. So if there's an unlucky day for AKO Legends, today is definitely the day.
And actually, that's going to be the last we see of AKO Legends. I mean, that's going to be it for them. Group B is kind of done. SAF, I mean, they got eliminated early in that match, but they still got their points. They have still a sizable lead, so no real big differences there. But I think today's story has been Group A and Group C. And I mean, both of these guys, both of the groups have really stepped up. We're seeing some of the teams that we have not even really talked much about other than to say that they were eliminated first. But both of them, the groups have really stepped up. It's been an interesting day for sure.
Hell, I'm actually really interested to see this next matchup.
Yes.
C versus A. My God. After seeing both of the underdogs in these 2 groups really blow up, I want to know who is on form today. Who's going to get the lion's share of those points?
Absolutely, man. Now let's take a quick look at the highlights, guys. This lobby was crazy from the get-go, right? Views taking that fight up against SAF, and this was just so unexpected.
This was unexpected.
Hell, iPads. Good job, camera guy.
It's fantastic. Great physics. I love it. I like how he flies down a cliff and he still lands on all 4s. He lands like a cat.
Oh, goodness.
I'm just waiting for the April Fools where they enable ragdoll death effects for Free Fire. That'll be perfect. But I really feel like we're starting to see these underdogs really perform today. I want to know, we've already seen how Group A performed. What do you guys feel like were the highlights for these underdogs in Group C?
That's a tough one, right? Because the whole of Group E have managed to impress just non-stop back-to-back. Granted, Almighty, they were a little under the weather again today. I guess not very different from all of the other days. No offense, Almighty. But it is what it is, right? The guys just need to find out exactly how they can overcome some of these situations. The strategy just doesn't seem to be clicking for them. Metrics, on the other hand, they bring that strategy in and look at how well it's serving them. They managed to get the Booyah, but not the #1 spot. This time around, they secure it for themselves, mainly because SAF kind of got snuffed out early on.
Look at this Cannot X Brain. Second place. Are you serious? This is Cannot Brain that's 17th in the league right now. And the fact that they're just going up against the big dogs. This is the best 2 groups, B versus C. And the fact that they're just kind of stepping up right now, even Metrics there, this is completely unheard of in the sense of just the underdog story of all these guys on the bottom. I think they were they're sick of hearing all the crap that we've thrown at them. And they've just really stepped up today because, you know what I mean? Metrics and Cannot X Brain, top 2 right now, looking very, very impressive today.
Yeah, I do feel bad for Umbrella Reborn though. I feel like they could have gone off with a bang, but sometimes good things have got to come to an end, right? So this is a bit of a sad way to end for Umbrella Reborn. But I still have high hopes for this team, right? We've all been following them. It's a team that's just been sitting in the middle of the pack. Yeah, they might bomb out now, but I think they still managed to rack up a fair number of points today to actually slowly climb up that leaderboard.
Yeah, I think for Metrics, here's a very wild expectations. What if Metrics gets all 4 Booyahs today?
Crazy, man. I don't know, right? Because we Do Easy stepping it up as well. And we're talking about the day of the underdogs. Group A is the group of underdogs, right?
Yeah.
We did not expect to see that sort of a performance in here at the start of the day, and yet that's exactly what we got. And just like what Danny said, I equally am excited for the next group, because when A goes up against C, there's going to be two bombastic back-to-back matches, guys.
Yeah,
right.
that's going to be coming up next, and it's we're going to take a little bit of a break right before that, but we'll be right back after these messages.
Oh, not yet.
Not yet.
You're so excited.
No, it's all right.
Okay.
We got suckered into that one. I mean, sometimes, we go in for the rush.
This is what happens when you rush when you had the advantage.
No. So
Yeah.
I think I know what happened.
This is
right?
what
So-
happens when you don't throw that grenade first, Hola.
You got to throw it out. You got to prime it, right? I guess apparently
pop it
that
out
was
first, man.
what was expected there.
He didn't pull the pin. He just threw the grenade, left the pin. They threw it back. They pulled the pin. Okay, hold on. Anyways, so before we go for a break, we just want to remind you guys that we do have our code that we are going to give to you wonderful people at home. So it'll show up in the bottom in just a minute, but make sure once it pops up, share it with your friends, everyone that you know, because the code expires at the end of today. This is not a code that's going to last for a whole week, and it's not first come, first serve. So everyone that uses the code can claim it. So there it is, MCPMR6PNGBEQ. I was trying to figure out how to remember the codes easily, and I just realized there's like kind of a pattern to it. So the first will always be MCP. Hang on, my mouse is blocking something. So it's MCP. Wait, it's still blocking me.
She's
Why is
helping you
this
guys decipher the codes
Yeah.
of
So
MCP.
you could be like,
Mages.
next
This
step.
is going to be fun. Yes,
I'm trying
Danny.
to make this UI go away, but it's blocking the code. Never mind.
And the code's gone. Production's like, and what if I take it away now?
Now you have no power at all.
I'm really embarrassed. We're going to go for a break now so I can recover, and also for you guys to get ready for A versus C, probably the highlight of the day. So make sure you go to the toilet, grab your snacks, because once you come back, we're going to be in for some explosive matches. We'll see you after this.
Takes let's go down. Spade dropped onto the ground. Jabat goes down as well for X-Men. X-Men not looking great at all.
Teams will be squished in together. Who will take this fight and who will take this booyah?
It's going to be almighty on our screen. They're putting up the kill. Shira is down, but Batman, he's running into the center with Black Smash. He's tumbling through everyone. Can Almighty do this? He's the last man alive. Almighty turns around, and I think they've done it.
But he does not get the hits onto Batman, and Batman can't even pull those flanks off. Beautiful nade placement coming through from Jembal, but Shira gets taken down, eliminated immediately. Gives me so much of confidence in this team of Enigmax. V2, beautiful nade now being tossed up front. And you did talk about V2 a little bit earlier on in this competition. What crazy plays, man. Manchai might be able to go in for the knock on a couple of players, but if he wants to take advantage, he needs to get the delete as well. Players from the side of Enigmax now coming in for the snuff. V2 with those questions, and Manchai needs to get away, but with the shotgun, is able to bring in so much of challenge.
But let's go gets another snipe, and Goku, he has to spend so much time. The grenade flying through. This might just be it. This might just be the back that ends it all. For X-Men Expert.
Triple kill. Shut down. Quadruple kill. Quadruple kill.
lukang sukungan.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the MCP Majors Season 2. We are just about to drop into a monster of a matchup today as Group A are on fire. It's going to be Group A versus Group C. Hula, I'm excited. How about you?
I'm definitely excited as well. I mean, we're going to see Do Easy tactical intakes from Group A coming out of the ashes, so to speak, like a phoenix rising. Both of these teams have really stepped up. And then now we've also seen from Group C metrics. Really, I don't think I've said metrics the entire league. And all of a sudden, day 5, this is a team that decides to show up and they end up getting the booyah. They got second place. I mean, this is a team that's ready to go. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the Cheerios that they had in the morning or whatever, but these guys are fired up and good to go for day 5.
Yeah, clearly these players are on something, right? Because they're on point, their movement is fantastic, they're super confident when they go in for those engagements, whereas early on you could see some of these teams that came in from the qualifiers, they're very hesitant when it came to engagements. They didn't know if they wanted to commit to the fights, and a lot of the time the hesitation kills you because you don't have too much time to think. So I'm really glad that we're starting to see Group A show up because this was considered for the longest time the weakest group out of all 3 groups, right? It was Group A that was the weakest, and then it was constantly just this battle of power between Group B versus C, and then eventually Group B ended up being the big powerhouse. And then today, or at least this weekend, it seems Group B have fallen off.
I think it comes down to the fact that now they're very comfortable, right? They realize that at the end of the day, it's free fire, right? Doesn't matter who we're up against, and like the fact that, things are now being spectated on and people are commenting on this cup. It's a little nerve-wracking, especially starting things out, right? But you've had 4 play days. The teams have kind of just been like, hey, it's at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. We're going to continue to play just what we know, and we're going to be able to just hit our shots, and let's go right into the standings and see exactly where things are as we go into group match 5 and 6 coming up. And if we're looking at this one, of course, the A and C teams have the least amount of points just because of the fact that Group B have played the most amount of games. But we're looking at it now. Supreme Assault Force is at the top. No surprises there. But AKO Legends with a 76-point difference in second place right now.
Yeah, it's a pretty big gap. It's very unlikely that anyone's going to be able to take the crown away from SAF, but who knows? We have seen some crazy things over the course of our first season, so it's not to say that it's impossible, but it's going to be a very tough ask. But now, looking at the leaderboard, it just makes me wonder, because Group B have completed their matches for today, how much of a change are these next 2 matches going to be for teams in teams A and C? Are there going to be any teams that make a big climb? I mean, for all we know, we could have 2 amazing games for a team like 4X-Men or Blacklist International, and they can shoot up to second place no problem.
And I love the fact that we're starting to see a lot of trends, right? You see the first, second, third, those guys are probably in a race, although SAF is probably away and gone. But then you're looking at the next tier, Blacklist, 4X-Men Expert, Woos, Free to Rumble. This is the next tier of teams, right? So this is going to be your tier 2 teams, Metrics, Fast Kill, and then, Tactical Intex, Almighty, and Bloody Head kind of fighting for the next one. But it's very, very close. Umbrella Reborn, definitely within stone throw. Do Easy's on the way up. Now is the time to get back into this, especially as we get into the midpoint of the league here.
Yeah, and it really makes you wonder as well when we go into the second half of the league, right? After the shuffles, what are these groups going to look like? Because we've seen in the past where some teams, they absolutely dominate during the first half, but then as soon as they go through the shuffle, they get steamrolled by the teams that are in their groups. So there's a lot of things going forward. Are we going to just see this constant spotlight on SAF, or is someone maybe going to be able to steal that crown? There is a possibility. We still have 3 more weeks after this.
Yeah, we have definitely a long time, but I think AJ talked about it before, about being that number 1 guy with a target on your back. Now, if you happen to be on SAF and you have that target on your back, how are you feeling? Are you feeling good, comfortable, and ready to go, or is it more of like, I'd rather not have the sunshine here. I would rather be, in the tier 2 area. Where would you like to be?
So personally, I don't do very well under stress, so I would love it if they didn't shine the spotlight on me at all. I'd rather be one of the teams trying to chase that first place, right? Because you have a goal to work towards, whereas once you're already at the top, this is something that applies to not just video games, but sports in general, when you're the best at something, it's really hard to stay the best because you have all this pressure on your shoulders to maintain that position. And then as soon as you screw up, that's a huge mental toll on yourself because you either let people down or you didn't meet people's expectations.
All right, well, let's see who can match expectations as we go into group match 5. It's going to be Group A versus C. AJ and Husky, take it away.
Thank you very much once more to our lovely host, Danielle and Holler. Yes, when it comes down to expectation, no one has a higher standard than my buddy AJ right here. And before the break, I spoke about how what if Matrix gets 4 Booyahs today, basically winning out every single round. But after looking at the leaderboard, I'm going to say something that makes me sound like a bit of a jerk. But I want to see Enigmax score their first kill because they have not gotten a single kill today. And I am not happy with that. They are still sitting at 18 total kills.
Yeah. And you know, if Metrics could already do it against Group B, I see why they would not be able to pull it off against Group A. Because who are the heavy hitters from Group A, man? I mean,
Wow.
What? No, I'm serious, right? Who's the heavy hitter? Tactical Intex, maybe Tactical Intex with the consistency, with the points, with the kills in there. So I think you might be able to get your wish. Metrics might be able to pull off 4 Booyahs, bro, because they just did the impossible back to back. And I think they shocked me. They shocked all of us here. They've shocked the whole of the Free Fire community. And if they can do it yet again, they should be able to just slot themselves up into the top 5. Metrics, Husky. This is the MCP majors is just turning into a story, a drama that we would have never been able to call it from day one, except SAF though.
Yeah, I bet when the major started, I think a lot of us, at least you know, those who did FFMC or are familiar with the Malaysian scene, we would probably place like, you know, Blacklist International, probably Freedom Rumble or AKO Legend. To be at the top, right? That is kind of excluding the Filipino teams. And then we look at the Filipino teams. I think the first team that came to my mind was not SAF. It was actually Wheels, because I feel like SAF, you know, you compared their performance to Wheels in that first MCP. Wheels just had a better run overall. But now SAF, they came out, they proved all of us wrong. So I don't see why Metrics can't make it to top 5. I feel like if they keep this up, maybe they're gonna be taking over AKO Legends. You never know.
Yeah. And I think that's a great highlight. We have to pay a little bit more of attention to views as well in this particular lobby, because I feel like they might be the ones to rise up to the top as well, right? I mean, as much as Metrics has got the ability to do that, Enigmax, you know, a little bit of a response perhaps to your challenge, getting into an early engagement here. But the kill, on the other hand, is a little bit tough to find. Argon MY with Spark as well as Pedro right in front of Lonesome, and it's going to be a very lonesome fight that he takes here if he cannot find a little bit of the backup. His players are all behind him, and he's the only one aggressing so far, Husky.
And it seems like so far for Enigmax, it still has not, well, worked out well. That's for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, overall on the boards as to where do they stand at the 18th position, I guess you can say that, you know, they will be a little demotivated. But, you know, once again, man, look at Bloody Heads. Look at where Bloody Heads were at the previous MCP majors versus where they are now. It's not a great position to be in, but, you know, a little by little, we can see those improvements coming through, competition up to competition. And you know, maybe Enigmax is just stuck in that situation now where they're still trying to find their stride, right? I don't really see them playing a lot of strategies, unlike Blacklist International, once again, who are not even focusing on the Booyah, yet able to maintain the top 5 for themselves. Blacklist International, if they were focusing on the Booyah, their aggression is just on another level. Which brings me back to the question as to why have we not seen them go in for those aggressive plays, Husky?
I feel like this has been like that since FFMC, right? I think even during FFMC, Blacklist International was not the most aggressive team.
Yeah.
So if that has been around for a long time, I feel like maybe this is the new identity of Blacklist International. Maybe it is just, again, a change of their approach.
Uh-oh.
But speaking about approach, Lonesome about to get
Oh.
run down by fast Argon and why Spark is EMX finds her in a bad spot. The grenade is gonna bounce, but it's just a flashbang, and Slumber is trying to create a bit of distraction, but I don't think he can buy much time for himself because other than Argon and Y, Fastkill and Y is also on the horizon, and Fastkill is gonna come in and strike down X2R. Another three-way fight seems like it's about to happen, but EMX, they have to find a way to kind of deal with this.
Yeah, Argon MY now, they are a little bit more aggressive, I guess, because they have found the side of Fastkill MY coming in here to steal a couple of their kill points. Now they have to be a little bit more patient onto this approach. Ali goes in with a beautiful knock. Pedro takes Slumber out of the equation, stealing that kill away. Almighty on the other hand, Batman, beautiful takedown onto Type 64. And 0 to Hero, looks like this time around they will be remaining on that 0. Almighty with 2 kills in here so far, going after Blade. Enigmax getting taken out of the equation in the background there. Blade goes down as well. 0 to Hero will remain 0 in this lobby as well.
It seems like it's going to remain in that way for another round. I think sad to say that Enigmax probably not strangers to this outcome. So, well, I would say the silver lining is that there's still a lot more chances for them, but it's definitely tough to deal with a defeat. You know, every time when people just run over you, I think Enigmax has a lot of work to do. But Fastkill and Y, they're gonna try to make do with what they have right now. And Argon and Y is gonna be the victim. Fastkill picks up the 4th, and it's about to be the 5th. As Spark is also bleeding out. Fastkill just trying to clean up shop, at least take control of Fire Brigade. So starting off the round with 5 points already. Fastkill off to a decent start.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if Fastkill makes it all the way to the end of the map, gets the Booyah up for themselves as well. But yeah, that's all we're going to see from this squad, man. I mean, the inconsistency is just appalling for a squad that can pick the Booyah up with so many kills and then come 3 back-to-back rounds back into these matches and show absolutely nothing, right? And I don't know if that's a problem with the strategy. It's a problem with their overconfidence because it's such a huge difference, Husky, between getting taken out early versus ending up with a Booyah and 20 plus kills. It's just crazy how they do it.
Oh yeah, I feel like this is just how they have always been dealing with the games, right? It's just
Unfortunately, yes.
It's one of those situations where I really don't know what else can be done differently. But I feel like something has to be done, you know. I think I'm at the state of just being a bit lost. But I would say that it's a big difference in terms of mechanics, to a certain degree. Like the enemies are probably hitting their shots way more often, and which is why it all starts from the basics again. But looking at the Wheels, a team that for the past 2 rounds haven't been doing too bad, but since right now it's A versus C, they are going to be the team that we should look out for other than metrics.
Let's see if or not they will be able to rise up to the top, right? Because Views, they've been quite impressive on their run up to the top. Currently sitting down in that 6th position. I believe they've jumped up 1 spot and now they stand 37 points away from replacing Auto Knockout Legend from that 2nd position. And I feel like Views definitely has got a huge potential to do that, man. And only if they can carry on their momentum that they've had in this competition. And I feel like Mbalore, if he can survive all the way to the end of the circle, as you've mentioned before, together with Al40, that combo should be the winning fight for Views, Husky.
Yeah, it definitely could be that way. I think Wills, even though they are not the best team yet, but I think that their aggression has definitely improved over time.
Yeah.
And right now we still have 11 teams in the game, you know, like it's International finally making their very early move into the center, Forestman Expert behind them. It's going to be a matter of time before we see Views in action for sure, judging by how they're approaching this round. But Forestman Expert, they're about to walk into a full ambush if they go straight. And it seems like they saw Blacklist International, so Forestman Expert will be able to completely avoid their enemies.
Yeah, I'm starting to worry a little bit for Blacklist International. A little too consistent with their movements. They always like to play the same compounds, and I feel like if any one of the other teams starts picking up on this, and if they gun for Blacklist International over at the finals when we play Purgatory, it's not going to end up for them well at all. You need to be able to change it up constantly, and I think that's exactly what Blacklist International understands and is trying to fix. All throughout FFMC, all throughout the MCP majors, they have strayed away from taking these aggressive fights. Once in a while, they step in for a quick takedown if they see the opportune moment. But apart from that, they are very, very focused in getting those positions for themselves. No aggression at all. I really wonder where that play is going.
It feels like most of this, like the first 4 rounds that we had, regardless whether it's on Bermuda or Purgatory, it has been pretty explosive, right? Especially in the 3rd and 4th round. Right now, it seems like the teams are slowing down a bit more. No one is on, the Western Island. I think the last team to leave there, it's going to be ITX. They themselves decided to swim across. Oregon and Y, they're playing the survival game, and they are surrounded by Fascio and Y on the southern side, and in the area of Central. I feel like Wheels probably has the best position right now. Although it sounds weird, right? They're on the edge. We'll see where this next circle brings them to. Still within the safe zone, still at the edge, a lot of room to work with. I'm liking where Wheels have planted themselves.
Oh, absolutely, man. And Do Easy, no offense to them, but they're not going to be that huge of an obstacle to overcome if they do end up fighting for the compound over at Brasilia. And I feel like Views needs to make that move in a little bit earlier because they are quite out in the open. Bloody Heads, on the other hand, they will not be in the zone just yet, but they've got about a minute more to plot their path in. If they can get to a great position, maybe we might be able to see the squad at that final zone, right? Because Bloody Heads as well, man, they've been stepping it up. Currently, they sit down at the 12th position. Very impressive, but it's not going to be enough, right? We've seen Umbrella Reborn. We have seen Do Easy. Z Squad, Cannot Brain. And these are the guys who are trying to catch up with Bloody Heads. And if they have been stepping it up consistently, that must definitely be unnerving for the players of Bloody Heads, Husky.
I feel the same. I think Bloody Head, speaking about that, I'm surprised that they haven't made much noise yet.
Yeah.
It's kind of the Bloody Head that we rarely see, but it's also the Bloody Head that probably has a lot more surprises going into the rest of the round, as Metrics about to make their first big rotation, and they're going to pass by Fascio for sure. It seems like Fascio, not sure, I don't think they can do much to Metrics. The Metrics, they will be able to at least make their first pit stop under this bridge. Not the best spot to be in, but it definitely gives them some time to recompose themselves and see if they can catch anyone passing by. The obvious victim is going to be Fascio, but I think Fascio knows about it. You can see Fascio, they're going straight up north. So Metrics, they're not going to find anyone. In fact, now if they want to get into the safe zone, they will have to go through the likes of Wheels.
Yeah, this is the part where you start hoping and praying that the zone moves towards you instead of away, because, once you've secured a good position like this for yourselves, like what Metrics has, it's an unsuspecting area to be holding onto, right? You anticipate this players squeezing into those little huts, those houses, into those compounds, and Metrics, on the other hand, holding on to such an open area. Risky plays, but high risk, high reward. They might be able to catch Team Fastkill off guard, or even potentially Views based on what we were seeing on the screen moments ago. But Bloody Heads, and they come in real quick. Metrics might be taking that fight up next, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Bloody Heads, they don't look like they're slowing down. They've taken over a compound just beside Metrics, and they have got the vantage point here in terms of that fight. If it does go ahead to break out, Metrics might get caught off guard.
And I wonder how Metrics going to deal with this. It feels like they are still deciding to go on the safer approach, just playing on the low ground, but there's not much room not much room for them to wriggle around right now. I think eventually you'll have to make a choice. Where do you want to take the fight? And I feel like they probably want to take a Bloody Head, but since the circle moved away, now they have to make a completely different set of decisions. And you can see Forest been expert taking on Blacklist International. In fact, Blacklist International, this is what they are known for, going in for the push. grenade deflected, but it doesn't matter because Clanks runs in, guns down Jabat. Rybel does find Cobra in return, and Goku with the good nade takes down Clanks. Blacklist International walked into a minefield, and this is where Forest Man Expert can punish them. And Man Flank, they are not doing too well, at least for Blacklist International, as Man Flank takes out Jabat. Goku finds an immediate exchange, and Blacklist International are getting thin out Phoenix Dice, and Blacklist will be the second last team to get knocked out.
Yeah, great plays coming in here from 4X-Men Expert. Once again, the Blacklist International of all, which used to bring on such beautiful mechanical plays in here to overcome opponents just through their gunfights. Yeah, they just don't seem to be playing in the MCP Majors. This is MCP Major Season 2. Blacklist International, they've fallen away quite far, but I cannot help but feel this is a strategy from their coach. I'm really waiting to see exactly where that strategy ends up, because clearly it's not working out for them. If it is just pure deception that they're pulling off, let's see how far the deception goes on to win it, right? Ali gets the kill and the snuff onto Morgana, which means Bloody Heads now 10 down. Ali looking for yet another hit onto ZJ, who's going in for the heal onto himself. Bot 77 taken out by Lavitz and then deleted as well. Zeth, one squad. This is the Zero to Hero team that has been one of those underdogs that have been on the rise. Today alone has not been the greatest of day, but we've seen them pop off last week, and they might be able to step up once again if they can bring those numbers in. Bloody Heads right behind them. Zeth might be able to get a juggernaut victory here on that fight.
Yeah, and this, if there's any time to prove it, this is it. Batman, the good shot, the sniper of Almighty, takes out Goku. As Forest Man were completely trapped behind the glue wall, but you know that there is a weapon they can go through, and that is the one that Batman is wielding. And he has two of the best ones, the rifle and the grenade launcher. So Forest Man Expert pretty much done so for the most part. Circle's gonna move away from everyone, at least on screen. Bonito will be able to find Moat. I think Bloody Hit not doing too well. Forest Man Expert about to get rushed by Almighty, but Fast Kill MY so far finds their 10th kill as they knock out Bloody Hit. And Fast Kill MY, no, the theme song is definitely hot and cold by Katy Perry. Sometimes they're hot, sometimes they're cold, sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. But Almighty, so far, it's a yes for them as they take out Forest Man Expert. But right now responds with a two-man nade. He's just gonna throw his life away. The rebound! Oh, the rebound comes out huge, and Almighty fall prey.
Someone, a basketball team, please sign on Rybel. This Kobe is just absolute perfect. Gets the deflection of the nade off the tree, bro. What master plays, bro. Absolute master plays coming through from all of the squads in here. Now, Team Fastkill looking for a couple of kills for themselves. Views in position already. But now, Views and Fastkill, they will be fighting for this open compound as they try to squeeze themselves in towards the next safe zone. That the blue zone forcing all of them in, not allowing them to pay attention to each other. And it's all going to be about those glue walls as well as the nades that come flying through. Shark on the ground. FSK needs to be able to pick him up, and they do exactly that. Monito getting caught out by the zone here, but as he tries to sneak in, he's closing the distance between himself as well as the players from Views. I don't know if that's a great idea or a bad idea, Husky.
I feel like it seems like a very bad idea if you have Views right now, because everyone's calling the low ground with tactical intacts firing at them from different angles. But behind tactical intacts, it's gonna be Forest Man Expert Rybel, who just managed to finish a tough fight against Almighty. He's definitely outnumbered 4-1. But let's see if he can pull off any more magic. Fast Kill MY have just lost 2 of the members, but they've already garnered 11 kills. Do Easy is next on the chopping block. And it seems like Fast Kill MY, they know where Do Easy is. Jembao, oh boy, no, shows his butt, and he's gonna get shot. And Fast Kill MY takes 2 more, and that's a total tally of 13 kills. And it's gonna be Tactical Intex, ITX, pushing into the safe zone once more. And they're gonna take on Wheels and Fast Kill at the same time.
Those are the kind of moments that I shoutcast for, man. Shooting your opponent in the butt, getting the kills. for X-Men Expert now. Fast kill M1. What? Gets eliminated as Rin OP from Matrix. Gets the kill. Bro, I didn't know they were still alive. I had not gotten eyes on them at all for X-Men Expert. Rybel from the back. Views gets eliminated from this mix as well. Matrix, are they going to do the impossible? Shook's taking those shots on. And Rin drops him as well. They haven't gone in there for the delete. But IDX taking on MTX. It's all about the X factor from both of these squads. Manchai now knocked down onto the ground. Shafiq has been eliminated. Matrix gets taken out. And it is IDX that steps right back up. Rybel going in for the snuff. 4 X-Men Expert taken out. And IDX gets it done yet again.
First booyah for Tactical Intex, but Matrix cuts it so close once more. And if it not for that one nade from ITX, Matrix would have absolutely stood a chance to get the hat trick. But nonetheless, Matrix once more makes it in the top 3. If it is not a good day for them, I don't know what else is. But ITX makes their mark. They've been in top 10 for the longest of time, but they've been there without a booyah, and this one is going to be the first one on that trophy shelf.
Oh, great plays, man. Great plays coming in here from ITX. And, you know, I was thinking Matrix was almost close to taking it, but at the end of the day, it was ITX going up against MTX. A little bit too much of chaos in there. Rybel wasn't able to be effective at all. He thought he wanted to play for those placement points. The guy would have been a little bit more effective if he had just gone in there for the kill, right? MTX would have been eliminated from that situation a little bit faster, but unexpected turn of events. And ITX, after slogging and slaving and inching up little by little, they finally grabbed the booyah up for themselves. Very well-deserved victory. Let's bring our host right back in here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We've got Danny as well as Holler. Welcome back, guys.
Thank you. Man, that was such an exciting game, but there was... I mean, you probably know the moment I'm talking about. The one that broke my heart, that it looked... Almighty, what happened? Please, tell me what happened.
Rybel is a basketball player for sure. He bounced 2 frag grenades off the tree trunk and he took out All Might. I did not see that happen. You know, because I remember watching Almighty going for the push, and I was like, I think this should be it, right? And then I looked at the kill feed. 2 members of Almighty went down, and I was like, what the heck happened?
Sometimes you're just lucky, right?
Do you not learn after you make a mistake?
You have to give it to 4X-Men Expert though. You have to give it to Rybel. That is creativity. I don't think anyone would have thought of bouncing a nade off a tree trunk, of all things.
After he glue walls himself in.
Yes.
Because that literally is a dead zone, right? You don't get out. You are just going to get punctured through all of those glue walls. They're just going to be firing you down, spamming you down. And I bet Almighty did not expect those nades. But yet again, you know, when I say they don't learn from their mistakes, at that point, Almighty, they've already won that battle in terms of taking out 2 players. They could have just run. They could have just focused in on positioning themselves for that final battle.
Have you not been told that if you start eating your meal, you have to finish it? Almighty is trying to stick to that, you know. Like at least for me, like if I leave a grain of rice on my plate, my mom says that I will have acne and pimples when I grow up. And 20 years later, I think it's true. Almighty was just trying to get the job done, okay?
Yeah, fair enough, man. Fair enough. But, you know, I'm the kind of guy that believes that your body knows you better than your mama knows you, right? So when your body says you're full, you're supposed to stop eating. And that's exactly why we've got a high rate of obesity in Malaysia. But Husky, you know, you look like you're keeping your BMI quite well, bro. I have to take some tips from you.
Yeah, you just have to feel lucky that my mom isn't watching this.
Sorry, auntie, if you are.
Who knows? Who might get an earful after this, but... But going back onto the game, though, I have to say today I am so impressed with Matrix. These guys have really pulled out a run today. Yeah, I don't think they really got the kill points today, but they still got the placements. They got 2 booyahs back to back. So this is already just a great day for Matrix. I think even if they bomb out this next match, hopefully they don't. I want this to keep going. But if they keep going like this, I mean, I don't know. I'm turning into a Matrix fan. These guys are just blowing up out of nowhere.
Yeah, and look at my prediction of Fast Kill MY just coming through. The guys have gotten their one win of the day. So say hello everyone to Fast Kill MY. They are going to go back into hiding later.
I mean, hiding back later, but they're going back and hiding with 13 kills, right? Like, that is no small feat in and of itself. And they were honestly, they were the most disruptive team that we saw in that game. They were all over the place. They were making kills everywhere and just getting really involved. Tactical Intex, another team that we thought, that was playing very well today. I mean, they got your booyah, so that's as good as it's going to go for them. But Tactical Intex all day today, they've been playing on point. This is a team that you need to look out for, especially moving forward and, into tomorrow and the restructure with all the different groups.
Yeah, Almighty with the surprising fifth spot in here. 5 kills they got. We were just discussing their unfortunate demise. 3 placement points in total because of their very, very careless push in. They managed to finish above Views though, which is very much more impressive. I'm quite surprised that Views didn't even get any kills at all from this lobby.
Yeah, I have to agree. I thought, if anything, Woos is one of the top teams when it comes to kills.
Man, the placement points in this particular scenario makes so much of a difference, right? Like Almighty would have easily been in the position that Forexman Expert is in, if not for that unfortunate event, I would say. But nonetheless, it feels like we have bumped down the expectations for Almighty by a little bit. So now they are in the middle. Like, yeah, it's okay. This is where I think Almighty should be. At least for now, it's better than them not performing at all.
Fair enough. I mean, in comparison to where they were in season 1, I think I want Batman to step up a little bit more, right? Because if at all Batman gets a little bit of his old stride, I'm not saying, the side of Almighty is going to be picking up Booyahs back to back, but we should be able to see them at the very least secure the top 12 for themselves, just similar to what Views is doing, right? I mean, we saw them, in the 11th position, and slowly they're climbing this wall up. And as they climb, they just look even more and more difficult to take down, Holler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they haven't hit their stride. Right? I don't know what it is today. They seem a little off the mark today in terms of their team coordination. Batman hasn't been able to strive because he relies on his teammates to do well. Right, his teammates, I don't know if they're more bait or decoy or whatever you want to call them, but they do provide a little bit of a distraction for him to get going, and we haven't seen much of that today. Yeah. So I think that unfortunately their team needs to step up. They need to change things up. I think Woos and Metrics, those are 2 teams that have kind of, or an ITX, those 3 teams, have really changed up their strategy, and they've done well because of that.
Yeah.
All right, so it looks like we're going to be jumping into our final map of the day. It's Bermuda for Groups A versus C. Let's see if this is going to be just as an exciting match as the one we just saw in Purgatory. Our beautiful casters, AJ and Husky, take it away.
Thank you so very much, Danny. This time round, Husky, I'm so happy that nobody wants to go to Mars Electric. but my friend, Views as well as Blacklist International. Come on, Views, make Daddy proud.
Yeah,
Get away from them and fly away. There you go. You can spot those flights. Get away from that fight. And, I guess it's a good thing to move away, but they might have to take an early engagement against Argon MY. But it's better than facing off against Blacklist International early on at Rimnam, man.
Okay, they actually landed this outside of factory. I was also worried, right? What if Views avoids Blacklist and just drops into Argon MY instead? Bloody ahead though, they are gonna take on Metrics, or at least they might take on Metrics. And since that is EJ, he has already been shot at, so that to bloody ahead is a war crime. Like, you shot our guy, now we're gonna try and shoot you back. Metrics does have a bit more of an advantage on that elevated platform. So bloody hit, if they want to take a fight, they have to be really careful. And Metrics, they are gonna just run away.
We've seen Metrics in this exact same compound, getting involved in an unfortunate engagement last week, and I'm very, very happy that Metrics has decided to back away from this fight, regardless of who's landed in there, right? You get tempted by these early kill points. yeah, you're probably going to be risking getting killed yourself. And, that's just not the kind of engagement you want to be kicking off in the final round of the day, especially after you, a team that I wouldn't say has gotten counted out, but a team that not many of the Free Fire community would have perhaps put their money on, consistently coming up in here, finally making it your day. You don't want to drop the ball in this round.
Absolutely. Now let's talk Batman for a while. I think Batman, first of all, I think poor guy, before playing in the MCP Major Season 1, he's regarded as one of the best snipers from the Philippines,
Yes.
right? Come Season 1 of MCP Major, we have been constantly, talking about Batman. Like, where is the Batman that people want to see? And fast forward to right now, we still haven't, it feels like we haven't seen that Batman just yet. So is this a fall from grace, or is it just the evolution of how Free Fire or the evolution that Free Fire went through, and Batman is still kind of stuck in the past?
Yeah, to a certain degree, it depends on the meta as well, right? The snipers were definitely too OP, man. I love the balance that has been brought back into the game. But when the balance technically was brought back, it leaned on too heavy to the side of those double vectors, right? Clanks taking Zeth Blade out of the equation. Blacklist International kicking things off early, and Manflank will be able to do exactly what his name says. Go in for that crazy flank. And now Clanks almost taken down, gets knocked down onto the ground by Monarch. But now Phoenix should be able to respond from afar. Cobra going in for those early engagements, CQC, but they're not able to catch off any other players from the side of Zeth. And this is a 3-on-3 battle as the side of Blacklist International take this after Clanks gets taken out of the equation. Blade gets knocked down, and none of the players from Zeth in there to pick him up. Labith goes down as well, and this looks like it's almost gonna be over. Monarch, Cobra, come on, don't do this to be the man who pulls out the time turner to protect himself, and out in the open, still going in for the shots on Monarch. Monarch not going to be able to stand up for much longer. Blacklist International. What an aggressive approach from the opener.
What? Zeth starts a fight, and then they're like, guys, I think we've done enough. We killed Clanks. They all ran. They all just ran. That was the freest kills. I really want to understand, like, what was the reasoning behind the decision making, but it was so weird. I mean, they had their backs turned. Like, Blacklist International got probably the easiest shot of the round. So for Zeth, I guess this is, they're gonna end their day with a very unfortunate exit. They're gonna go out with 1 point, but I felt like that could have been so much better for them if they just deal with it better, I guess. Argon and Y, they're gonna run into each other, and Mars Electric, and guess what? I guess Mars Electric is like, it's like a very bad relationship, right? No matter what you do, you're gonna end up back in the same spot. And I think Argon and Y, they want to break free from it. Well, at least it feels like X2R is trying to break free, whereas Spark, he's running straight into the Tiger's den, and I'm not sure if that's a good decision, because he's gonna be gunned down. He pulls out the glue wall, 4 members of Wheels surrounding him, and Spark, he's gonna be quickly put to sleep, and he's gonna be buried by Wheels. Me from long range tries to damage Wheels, but Wheels, they got the job done. They're out.
Yeah, impressive push here coming in here from Hughes. It was Argon MY that had the compound, but Husky, here's the thing, man. I'm reaching out to a brother here. Was that a cry for help? Did you happen to get into a relationship like that where you can't leave, bro? Do I
No.
need to take action after the show?
No. I
Okay.
Thankfully.
Just checking, bro.
I've been fortunate enough in throughout the course of my my young life that I haven't been in these kind of situations. Can't say the same for ITX because they just got taken out by EMX. They lost 2 guys. So congratulations, EMX. They finally got a kill.
2 kills on top of that slumber as well as V2. And I believe they should be able to snuff out the rest of Intex, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. They want to play their numbers a little bit well. They know they can't take this fight on against Enigmax anymore. They've set up the defense a little carelessly. And now as they try to back away, please do not tell me they have a watchtower. Please do not tell me they're sitting in a damn watchtower. Good job, bro.
Yes, and they are. Is there a
job.
nade? Oh, there is
Good
a
job.
nade. Hold on.
Good
Watch
job.
out. They
job.
both have nades.
Good job.
Oh, boy.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. What?
That's
How?
maybe one. And
How?
come on. They should be able to do it.
Yeah, do it. Why?
Yeah.
Don't sit in the watchtower. Have y'all not learned anything just yet in Free Fire? It's always is the death zone. I've not seen, I dare say, I have never seen any team win a fight.
Down 2-4. Definitely not. Well, I mean, okay, to be very fair, I mean, ITX had their moments, right? Okay, this is definitely not the result you want to close out the day, but you know, you did something good and then you screw up a bit, so it's forgivable. It's okay. Like my heart can still take it. I think Tactical Instax will still be in top 12 after this, but there's something for them to kind of go over by the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I don't really foresee perhaps Bloody Head getting a lot to take away in here. They have got opportunities, yes, but they've just not been on the mark, right? They're not too far away from Tactical Index, but Bloody Heads literally need to take a booyah as well as some solid kills, potentially about 10 in the bag for them to be able to get something like that completed. Jabat on the ground, and it looks like 4 X-Men Experts going to be hurting just a little bit. Blacklist International, although they are down by 1 man, it seems to not really impact their plays at all. They do have the vantage point here, and they use that vantage point to rain these bullets down. And 4 X-Men Expert having quite a tough situation, a tough time to deal with all of these shots, Sasuke.
Yeah, and I believe Blacklist International, they got a knock early on. I believe it was onto Jabat, but First Man Expert were able to bring their buddy back up. So now at this clock tower is a very classic spot, especially during FFMC. Everyone loved the clock tower. For some reason, there is always going to be a team that plays the role of the troll under the bridge. We're not seeing that right now. But I have just saw Nate. Okay, now the Nate didn't land. At least we know that. But Yon is gonna land a shot into Al Forte, and that's Wheels. That's the team that we want to look at. That's the team that we expect to have a good last round. But Fast Kill, they found their momentum. It's gonna be Aoki to follow next, and the Vector is just gonna finish him off. Fast Kill went wide with a quick 2 kills, and the rest of Wheels, they're gonna be on the menu. So Wheels, you better run far away from Mars Electric, because they're going to be put on the electric chair for sure. Blacklist International getting rushed by 4 X-Men Expert. We'll see how this turns out.
I hope Views is able to turn that situation around, but more than that, I hope Team Fastkill is able to pull this off as well, right? I'm just torn in between, man. I want both of those squads to get the best out of that equation. Blacklist International now. Cobra takes Spade out of the equation, or to the very least knocks him down onto the ground. Cobra needs to be very careful. So 7 HP left, and he goes in for the slice. Rybel now knocked down onto the ground as well, but Jabat has got what? Jabat had the nade, and Cobra knocks his butt onto the ground as well. 4 X-Men Expert, they have just been clutched by Blacklist International. Run, boy, run. The final survivor for 4 X-Men Expert now has to play for placement.
He has 7 HP, and he takes out 3 guys. Oh my goodness, this is the Cobra that we all know and love. And 4 X-Men Expert completely botching that. It was a 4 versus 3, and Cobra single-handedly killed everyone. He started with what? 0 medkit, 0, I believe 0 glue wall, and he finished it. And he finished that 1 versus 3 with 6 medkits. This guy basically just killed off everyone. All the hosts of 4 X-Men Expert. This is why when you take on Cobra, you have to make sure that the snake is dead.
And this is where my theory comes bumping right back through. When they want to take these aggressive fights, when they want to win their gunfights, look at how tenacious they are, right? Phoenix now should be able to catch Goku off guard, but Goku backs away right under the bridge like a troll, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. 4 X-Men Expert trying to play placement points here, but the snuff out onto AMX on the other side of the field will be coming through as well. Almighty going in here with the fights, but they have to be easy. The third party from Bloody Heads can come through real quick. V2, 1 man left in here. Cobra is the guy that takes out the final man as well. What is going on? 4 X-Men Expert, they had no chance at all in that fight. If Cobra's gonna continue on this trajectory, Blacklist International, that booyah might just be guaranteed. Beautiful nade coming through from Batman in here, and Almighty seems to be stepping it up as well.
Yeah, and Almighty already gotten 2 for themselves. Bloody hit. Trap and the outer perimeter of this safe zone. They are still okay for now, but not for long, as Almighty completely took over the right side of the factory. You have Argon MY this is kind of one of their favorite spots to hang out. We'll see if Argon and White can hold off Almighty, or at least not get picked off. Almighty have now assumed total control. It feels like Argon and White, they are playing at the outskirts of factory and might as well not have control of factory at all.
Yeah, and now Metrics, the position that they hold on to, I feel is great. We've seen this circle before. High probability of it getting pulled towards factory, but let's see exactly what the RNG gods have for us, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. If Metrics gets lucky with that call, they should not be needed to move at all. But hold, there you go. That position onto factory, I believe the zone is going to be moving in towards Metrics, but it's a very, very risky compound to be holding on to, because if at all you get caught off guard by anyone inside of factory, it's game over. They have got the vantage point to take those headshots, even if you do pull out those glue walls, Husky.
Yeah, and that definitely is a concern. It's a concern for sure. I mean, Argon and White, they are so far away. And well, considering the fact that they only lost Spark early on, this is probably one of the better rounds throughout the entire day. But Do Easy is a team that did show up in the first 2 games. Third game was not the best, but hopefully for the fight for this final round, Do Easy can show us something different, and maybe they have a chance against Argon and White.
This is the cutest skin I've ever seen. Why do I not have this skin?
What is that? Is that the
It looks like a heffalump.
what?
You know what's a heffalump? You don't know what's a heffalump?
No.
You don't watch Winnie the Pooh?
I know Winnie the Pooh, but I don't think I watched much of it.
The heffalump is an animal. It's a creature that crawls under your bed. It comes in your nightmares. It knocks on your cupboard door from the inside when you're sleeping, Husky. How can you not know the heffalump?
Because I don't think I grew up believing in ghosts coming to me in my sleep, I guess.
It's not a ghost, bro. It's the like Monsters Inc. You know, it's something like that. That's the job of heffalump. Oh, goodness me, heffalump's part of the Monsters Inc. group.
Really?
I don't know. I think so. It makes sense.
Okay, I'm missing out on a lot of that. Like, I'm so sorry.
I was waiting. I was waiting. How fast Husky gonna go?
How far are you gonna take me, right? Before you drop me off I jump off the cliff. Yes, I've been missing out on a lot. A lot of people is like, oh, you don't know, you don't watch Star Wars, you don't watch Lord of the Rings. I'm like, I don't. I grew up watching Power Rangers and then Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Laboratory, Courage the Cowardly Dog. I'm missing out on a lot in my childhood. No, I just have a different approach. Okay, I grew up watching a lot of stuff that.
You're a Cartoon Network kind of guy.
Yes.
That's all I'm hearing from all of those titles, man. You're a Cartoon Network kind of guy. Monicho taking the shots up against Jay-Z. Ooh, beautiful glue wall being popped out. Almighty, very impressive in this round, but hopefully they continue this, man, because 8 score. Oh, what nade. As I say that, Batman is on point, Husky.
Yeah, I'm loving it from Almighty so far. There's not a team that we see use a lot of that utility, and Jay-Z finds the second one as Morgana out. Bloody hit under assault as Wow tries to come in from a backstab, but Ali just gonna eliminate the rest of Bloody Hit. Bloody Hit will be in 8th place. As right now, Fast Kill MY with 5 kills. They have Almighty on the other side, but guess who else is joining the party? It's gonna be Blacklist International.
Oh, look
as
at
on
Matrix.
the other side of the map, Matrix wipes out Almighty. And Matrix, at least they did some damage instead of, but it might be enough. Matrix now gonna be under fire. Fast UNY coming through. Almighty chipping in. Matrix will go down eventually as they took a very unfavorable fight. But Fast UNY not done yet. Look at that. 11 kills as Almighty becomes the next team to get knocked out. Shark gets brought back up. He might be able to make it into the same zone. And yes, he does. Down to the last 4 team. Fast Kill. Is this their second booyah?
Come on, man. It better be. Come on, Fast Kill. This is exactly what we needed from this squad. We believe in their mechanical capabilities of taking some of these wins, but these guys have just been so inconsistent through this competition. And not just here, but at FFMC as well. Now, Do Easy taking this fight up at Argon MY in the compound as well. So Do Easy needs to fight them first before they can even hope to take out the players from Team Fast Kill. And Fast Kill, on the other hand, should be able to maneuver in towards the next zone nice and and Easy and gatekeep Argon MY as well as Do Easy. Well, either side that makes it out of here. But look at this. One player from Team Fast Kill. What is he doing? Why is he moving in towards this crazy fight between two squads?
Oh boy, Team Fast Kill. I think he was able to make it out. Thank goodness. Do Easy not looking too good. If he lost two guys, Argon MY is gonna go down as Monito kills our man flank. Blacklist International being put on the list themselves. Look at Fast Kill. They have the high ground. 13 freaking kills. Make it 14, about to be 15 because Cobra's trapped behind a tree. And if there's anyone who can mess up Fast Kill, it's gonna be Do Easy. But it seems very unlikely because Do Easy are already out. Fast Kill looking for the second booyah to close out the day. And Fast Kill went wide. We've doubted them for so long. It took them 3 weeks. But 3 is the lucky number. Just to be first one to go down. Cobra might just be able to clutch this. 27 HP. He's not going to be able to heal out. Blacklist is out. Fast Kill MY once more strikes back. It's 2 in a row for them. And they are risen up.
Absolute craziness from Team Fast Kill. This is the consistency that we are talking about that just was not found from the squad. Monito, Yud, Hanma, Ali, as well as Jacques Ali, man. My MVP from this squad. This guy gets his shots from afar and he manages to kick off so many of these battles for Team Fast Kill MY. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is the victory. That is the booyah that we were looking out for. The guys got called out, Husky, and they stepped up. But the question is, do we need to continuously call them out throughout the whole of the group stages to continuously see them this sort of a performance from them, right? Because it's not just a booyah, it's a dominant booyah with all of those skills.
And they got 2 booyahs in a row after the call out. Maybe we need to put a bit more pressure on them, but at least they deserve a bit of a break after this because what a great last 2 rounds to close out the Saturday. But we're gonna bring back our host because I'm pretty sure both Danny and Holler have something to say about Fast Kill's performance.
Wow.
Holla, how about you, bro? Were you number one expecting it, or did you like me kind of expect inconsistency once again from Fast Kill?
Well, considering they got the last booyah, you kind of expect that they're going to do pretty well. I did not expect Bonito to get 5 kills like that and to turn it up and to get a second booyah in a row. I kind of feel like I deserve this one because I was giving Fast Kill a lot of crap earlier today. And so I'm a great motivator like this, right? Where I just put people down and then they just step up like this. So this is all on me.
You and me both, bro. You and me both. And I think it's only because we see capabilities from Team Fast Kill to pull the not just the booyahs off, but to get themselves in towards the top 3, right? But it's just a lot of careless plays. And I feel like if they are a little bit more careful, we can see this consistency out of them. Because they're not just playing pure placement points up there, Danny.
I would hate to have either of you as my parent. Just
thinking the same. It's just like Asian parenting at its finest.
I mean, it seems like it's working. I mean, we don't even know if the players are watching
I don't
the
tell my
stream.
son to finish his rice off the plate, man.
Okay. My mom's gonna hear about this. Like, she's not watching, but I'm gonna let her know.
Oh, I'll call your mom. No, I'm just kidding.
But you know how it is, right? Like if someone talks about you for some reason, you just feel angry. So your mom's probably like out there, maybe, I don't know, she's vacuuming the floor, doing the dishes. Why do I feel suddenly very angry?
She starts sneezing, right? Someone is talking about it. Yesterday was her birthday, AJ.
Happy belated birthday, Auntie. Thank you for giving birth to such a special son.
You're just overdoing it, right? But thank you.
But happy belated birthday, Auntie.
But yeah.
But apart from Fast Kill, though, who else impressed you, Danny, within that matchup itself?
Oh,
Tough, right?
It's tough because we've seen so many teams perform today, but then I'm also not surprised if they don't do well because up until this point, we didn't even know that they could play like this.
Yeah.
So
Metrics got close, though.
They were close. I mean, yeah, I did have quite a few hopes for Metrics, but I think at some point the gas was going to run out, right? Not every team is going to have the mental fortitude, the energy, the strats left to pull off a fantastic run. So, I mean, as soon as they went down, I was like, I guess that's it for Metrics today.
I think that was one of the biggest mistakes they actually made, because they held on to a very risky compound right outside of factory, very, very open. And the next zone got revealed. They did not have the next zone, and they started moving a little bit too late. By the time they started moving in, Husky, there's just all out chaos all around them. And they, instead of securing the next zone for themselves, they got a little greedy. They turned around, they knew Almighty was behind them, they go in for the snuff, and they just allowed Fastkill to take the rest of the game for themselves.
Yeah, and that was exactly what we saw, right? I feel like Metrics were in a very weird position because they were, I believe they were fighting outside of factory. And then there were so many teams. At one point, even I was confused because there were so many fireworks going on. And I thought that Metrics was winning out in the beginning because they did take out, I believe, one guy of Almighty. And suddenly it just all went downhill for Metrics. They got wiped. They got like rushed by 2 teams and they got wiped. It felt like a bit of greed, but it also felt like Metrics probably didn't expect to be in that spot, right? To have to face off against, to have bitten on more than they can chew.
I mean, that's a general thing that happens if you're pinned between 2 teams, right? Like, whoever is in the middle is the one that's going to get the most flack, because both teams have access to that team. So I think we can also maybe count this to Metrics being in an unfortunate position. So it's either you deal with the teams before you need to move, or you're going to have to pray to God that they don't snipe you out. So it was a tough one. I think today was also a case of some teams, I think a lot of teams today would have had better opportunities to get further, to get more kills, or to even get a booyah. But it's free fire, the circle's sometimes random, and you don't know where some of the competition is coming from, right? Because you don't know where everyone is. You don't know where everyone drops. It makes me feel that when it comes to battle royales, if the teams had information on roughly where everyone was at the beginning of the game, I feel like that would completely change the way how battle royales are played out, because all of a sudden teams see, okay, this team is in this section of the map, we're going to run this way so that we can avoid any type of confrontation. Oh, these teams are over here, we're going to try and path this way so we can intercept the 2 teams. Like, they don't have all this information compared to us.
Yeah,
So we can say
I
all
get
these
where
things,
you're coming
but
from, Danny, which is the biggest confusion for me when you pick a fight up against one of these squads. For example, Blacklist International. You get a knock, you don't get a kill. You go in for the kill, and you insist to stay in that same compound to perhaps aggress a little bit more to take this fight. I mean, when you see some of these big squads like Fastkill MY, you want to underestimate them because of their inconsistency, that's fine. But, you know, when you come across Views with their current performance, Metrics, when you come across a Blacklist International these days, you know, my reaction would be, holy crap, I cannot believe we shot the wrong guys. Let's run, guys. Let's run as fast as we can. But no, they just follow through. And only when they are left with one final player do they then decide, okay, I think we are about to lose this fight. Obviously, you're going to lose the fight.
Well, I think we did see that case, right? Was it Bloody Heads where they were going to fight, and then they got the one knock, and then they realized, wait, oh my god, and then they just completely disengaged, and then we saw how badly that went. So maybe it's just this case where that you don't have that knowledge. Once you engage, you have to commit, otherwise you're just going to lose regardless.
And it's really not fair to the teams, to be honest. We have that hindsight. We're able to see everything, right? So for, you know what I mean? We could say it's a good call or a bad call, but those guys with like somewhat limited information, it seems like, oh, that guy was very bloodthirsty. But at the end of the day, it's because we know, right? So at the heat of the moment, those things happen. And so you just kind of need to roll with it. And luck does have a good big part of battle royales. And so, I mean, if we're looking at this here, Fastkill Malaysia, yes, they got, you know, booyah and the 16 kills. I don't think there was luck involved in this one, as they were the clear favorite and the clear winner in this round.
This has really put them up higher on the leaderboard. I think this is the beginning of a good league stage for Fastkill. I felt like they've finally woken up, but we've only saw, you know, 2 good rounds. Like, I don't want to be the guy that ruins the party. You know, I feel happy for Fastkill as well. They had just an amazing performance, and what I'm looking forward to tomorrow is hopefully they bring this forward into to end the weekend, because when it was A against B, Fastkill were struggling a bit, but when they had to play, you know, the A against C, suddenly they had 2 amazing rounds. So maybe Fastkill's comfort zone is this A against C matchup.
Yeah, so it's something that we kind of discussed as well. That Group C is potentially going to be picking up a lot of these top spots, and that's exactly where Fastkill as well as Blacklist is from. But what are your opinions like on Blacklist International this time round? Didn't they seem way more aggressive than their usual rounds, especially Cobra?
I thought so. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Cobra had 6 kills, right? So it just in that last match themselves, and I think that this is one of those things where Cobra's like, all right, I'm sick of this, right? I'm sick of being, mid tier, bottom tier, whatever it is. This is the time. Let's finish strong. Make sure that we have a good, a lot of momentum going into day 6 tomorrow. So we just got to make sure that we're ready and we're good to go. And looks like Blacklist International top 4 right here. They're definitely in the running.
And speaking of running, a lot of these teams are starting to slowly run away with the game as well. So if we take a look at the positions of all the teams, Supreme Assault Forces obviously leading, but then we have a really, really close race from all the teams from 2nd place until 7th. So again, it all comes down to who has a really good day, because if a team is able to just simply rack up, I want to say 40 points in a weekend's worth of play, they could easily take that 2nd spot away from AKO Legends.
Yeah, and just look at Supreme Assault Forces. Thanos would be happy with their numbers. Balance, as all things should be. 148 placement points, 148 kill points. There's nothing much that needs to be said. This team is just way too good.
Although I do want to mention something though. And I think, especially after this weekend, it's going to be very tough for some of these bottom end teams to actually make it to top 12. So starting off the day, it was teams within the space of 9th to 14th. The gap was very small, but look how big this gap is now. I think the only reasonable position that you're going to be able to take if you are not in 12th position right now is 10th. I think 9th is practically almost unreachable just because of how well metrics played.
Yeah, and it's quite surprising that no matter how much of effort Umbrella Reborn puts into these matches, they just don't seem to be inching closer to that top 12 spot, right? I mean, they still sit in the 14th position, and let me do a quick math here. 20 plus points, 28, close to 30 points away from Bloody Heads. And those are points that they need to get on top of whatever Bloody Heads can get. And that seems to be quite difficult as well, because Bloody Heads, although they're not in the best of versions of themselves, they're doing quite enough, Danny.
I mean, if you take a look at the points of Umbrella Reborn, we did see that they have a lot of placement points. But the one thing that they're really lacking are those kill points. And we keep emphasizing how important those kill points are, because if you're not getting those kill points, those are additional points that you're giving to other teams.
Yeah.
So if you can grab those points yourself, not only does it help you in terms of your position, but you're also hindering the other teams when it comes to their progression as well. So I still think Umbrella is going to make it to top 12, but it's really just going to be an uphill battle until they can somehow figure out how they're going to approach fights, because so far, fights are not initiated by Umbrella Reborn. It's always them playing defensive.
Yep, agreed. And Holler, it's just going to get so much more harder for Umbrella Reborn, because they are going up against other squads that are in their own accord doing so well. Counted out to a certain point, Do Easy, Argon, and White. That squad cannot drain above and beyond everybody else. They've been quite impressive, but Cannot Drain seems to be falling into a little bit of the Team Fastskill's path of taking these aggressive moves and unfortunately getting snuffed out early on as well, my man.
Yeah, definitely. Cannot Brain, though, I mean, they didn't move anywhere in terms of placements. And unfortunately, they just ran into the freight train that was FSK, right? But if we're going to talking about Umbrella Reborn, this is a team that's still on the up and up, right? They moved up 2 position points today. They got positive scores, and they were just kind of, you know what I mean? It's like one of those things where you're a tortoise. You just got to go slow and steady, make sure that you're at the finish line. You have yourself a chance, and you just continue to be on the up and up and just continue to be positive about it, because, hey, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Absolutely, man.
And just to remind people at home as well, that was our last match of the day. So make sure you claim your code now, because once this is gone, there's no more code. Right, as soon as the stream dies, that code dies. So make sure you claim it right now. I kind of want to pull up a quick discussion point before we end the stream. So this is the second last day until we have the group mix-ups. They're going to shuffle the group so that we're going to get completely different groups, right? It's not going to be this massive powerhouse of B and C. We could be looking at a powerhouse of Group A. So considering that tomorrow is their last day of play, what teams do you feel are under a pressure to perform tomorrow to get the most amount of points before they shuffled? Who has the best groups of points, do you reckon?
For a team that feels pressured to get points, I feel like probably for Almighty, they probably feel very pressured right now because in the top 12 at least, Almighty is probably the team that is facing the more criticisms because Fastkill, we talked about them a lot. They showed up. Every single team showed up except for Almighty, even though they had that one booyah, but that's pretty much it, right? I think even Bloodyhead got a pass, so I think Almighty felt really pressured. Other than that, it's probably the teams from the 13th to 18th place. But I feel like if you are do easy or Umbrella Reborn, that pressure is probably going to be a bit heavier simply because you are that close to that 12th place.
Yeah, Umbrella Reborn, the saving grace for them is that they are currently in a group that is pretty much stacked already, right? So being able to maybe get into a different sort of a grouping where they can feed a little bit more might be the difference changer for them. So I don't know how Luck is going to be playing there, but I do anticipate that they will be bringing on the same amount of aggression. But the one team that I think needs to step up and desperately pick those points up is going to be Do Easy, Danny.
Yes.
They've just been a little lackluster all through this competition, very, very far away from what they were in MCP Major Season 1. And they don't know what's going to happen. I mean, things could just be even more difficult because this time round, they were put into, I wouldn't say quite an easy group, but it can't get easier than this, if that makes sense.
Hola?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Tactical Intex. They had a pretty good day. They had 46 points. They thought they were okay, but they actually got surpassed by Metrics, who leapfrogged them with about 56 points today. They need to be like, hey, a little concerned, but the fact that, hey, is this good performance good enough? They need to step it up even more. They make sure they're in the top 9, top 8, just be a little bit more comfortable.
All right, well, it's good to hear all of your opinions. Now, I do believe this is going to be the end of the stream for us. So to everyone watching, thank you so much for tuning in. This is week 3 of the MCP Majors. Make sure to come back tomorrow because it's going to be our final day of competition before the groups get shuffled. So until then, take a break. Good luck. Hopefully we'll get some booyahs and we'll see all of your wonderful faces tomorrow.
Thank you.
Tonight, we were born for this fight. We'll be glorious tonight. We are champions. We'll be warriors tonight, and like warriors we'll fight. We'll be victorious tonight. We are champions. We were born for tonight. We were born for this fight. We'll be glorious tonight. We are champions. We'll be glorious tonight, and like warriors we'll fight.
Terry kill.
Saya perlukan sokongan.
Ku takes let's go down. Spade dropped onto the ground. Jabat goes down as well. For X-Men not looking great at all.
Teams will be squished in together. Who will take this fight and who will take this booyah?
It's going to be almighty on our screen. They're putting up the kill. Shira is down, but Batman, he's running into the center with Black Smash. It's public to everyone. Can Almighty do this? He's the last man alive. Almighty turns around, and I think they've done it.
But he does not get the hits onto Batman, and Batman can't even pull those flanks off. Beautiful nade placement coming through from Jembal, but Shira gets taken down, eliminated immediately. Gives me so much of confidence in this team of Enigmax. V2, beautiful nade now being tossed up front. And you know, you did talk about V2 a little bit earlier on in this competition. What crazy placement. Manchai might be able to go in for the knock on a couple of players, but if he wants to take advantage, he needs to get the delete as well. Players from the side of Enigmax now coming in for the snuff. V2 with those questions, and Manchai needs to get away, but with the shotgun is able to bring in so much of challenge.
But let's go gets another snipe, and Goku, he has to spend so much time. The grenade flying through. This might just be it. This might just be the finish that ends it all. For X-Men expert.
Triple kill. Shut down. Blockade kill. Blockade kill.
Survivors, saya perlukan sokongan.